All right, here we go. Welcome back to the post-game spread. I'm going to be your host, as always, Blake Helm. You are now tuning into the Swingman, Jeremy Nowak story. Absolutely fascinating. I've been wanting to tell this story for a long time, so it's really a cool moment now that the podcast has grown and grown and grown to now where we can do stories like this, where I can get guests on like this. He's got close to 400,000 followers on Instagram, a top 25 long drive guy. He's got the Nowak step. Even my dad, who knows nothing about social media, has seen the Nowak step. So fascinating there. Had a really interesting journey through the game that shaped him. We're going to get into all of that. But to put it in a nutshell, Jeremy went to Stony Brook, a kind of mid-major D1 out of high school, and had 3 kind of okay-ish years where, pretty good, did some pitching, did some hitting, but not good enough to, take that next step to be a pro caliber type player. So a really fascinating decision he made. He dropped down to Division II and went to Mount Olive University in North Carolina, played under Rob Watt there, and became unlocked as a player, exploded, set every record in Division II, had a 30-something game hitting streak, just became what he was supposed to be, while pumping mid-90s from the mound. And this was back in the day when there was no portal. If you moved Division I to Division I, you had to sit out a whole year. So just that he, bet on himself and it worked out. I love stories like this. So fascinating there. Had a 3-4 year run with the Orioles and really got cut short and affiliated. Like his last year in affiliated, he had this year where, in professional baseball, you're either a prospect or a suspect. And his numbers were right there at like prospect level. So I'm curious. He'll never know. I'll never know what the Orioles were thinking in that moment, letting him go. But then that's the game sometimes, right? And then ended up in independent ball for a couple years. And then him. He's got 400,000 followers on Instagram as the guy that, first kind of I became aware of him as he was doing all these swing impressions. And at a really high level, really like kind of like an athletic genius to it. Both sides of the plate, can hit it 400 to 500 feet from both sides of the plate, can do everyone's swing. Became aware of him there, and then obviously he's a high level batting coach and the long drive stuff. So we're going to get into his journey and what he's been through, how the game shaped him, and all those kind of things. So we're going to hear from Rob Watt, his coach at Mount Olive. We're going to hear from Andrew Wall, longtime friend, former pro, college summer ball teammate. You guys are going to love this. This is Jeremy Nowak. He was unlocked. Here we go. All right. What's up, y'all? Before we get into the podcast here, I want to acknowledge all of my sponsors, and I'm in somewhat of a unique position here because I have local stories to Central Illinois or Springfield, but I also do national stories as well. So my national sponsors are Birdman Bats, Jack's Batting Gloves right here, and Clean Fuego. Go check them out. Highly believe in all these guys. Locally, Washco Strength and Speed, Overtime Training Academy, Body Symmetry, Milner Dentistry, Bank of Springfield, Sitco Chiropractic, Glisson Heating and Air, Eric Easley the Realtor, The Office Sports Bar and Grill, Hammers Radon Mitigation, Cardinal Cleaning, GT Performance Consulting, Safe House Illinois, Hudson Chiropractic in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, the Shamrocks Baseball and Softball Club, Flow Yoga, Hurwitz Enterprises, and Salvaggio Steel. We are also supported by the Kaiser family. We appreciate you guys. One. All right, guys, welcome back to the post-game spread. I'm your host as always. Man, I've been wanting to do this story for a long time, and it's so cool to be sitting across from this guy right here. I've got Jeremy Nowak here, the Swingman. For those of you guys just joining us for the first time, and probably there will be somewhat of a new audience here with Jeremy, but the post-game spread, my name is Blake Helm, and what we do is I am dedicated to finding the most unique, interesting stories in baseball and how people have created, unique paths through the game and whatnot. And this guy's story is so incredible, and I thought it really needed to be told. You guys know him, obviously, as this Instagram entity, as this long drive guy, as this guy that can imitate all your favorite swings and hit them 500 feet from both sides. And he also had this really interesting career that we're going to get into. But a little bit of background before we get going here. Hailing from Cheektowaga, New York, be a 4-year letter winner at Cheektowaga High School, all Western New York, hitting over 500 as a senior, also playing volleyball and wrestling. That's a unique mix of sports there, my brother. Uh, 3 years at Stony Brook as a pitcher and a hitter and as a hitter, 1 year at Division II Mount Olive, where you rewrote the record books going off. 35-game hitting streak, still a record in Division II, 446 average, still a school record, 17 pumps, 99 hits, a record, player of the year in the Conference Carolinas. Drafted by the Baltimore Orioles, 2010 in the 13th round, spending 3-4 years in affiliated, reaching high A, and then a 3-year indie ball stint. Troy Rivera's in the Can-Am, a year with the Evansville Otters, some time in the Frontier. Finally, the Joliet Slammers in Evansville in 15. And we missed each other by 1 year in the Frontier League. I was a little bit of Frontier myself. Now you know him as the Swingman with a huge social media following and a world-ranked long driver. What a fascinating journey. So one of the reasons I thought this story needed to be told is, seeing you do these impressions on Instagram, right? And everyone knows the batting stance guy. He's been around forever, right? But that you are essentially like the next level of that. Like you're the batting stance guy that can do it actually, like actually hit them. And it's so cool to see you, get these intricate swings totally down from both sides and being able to hit these 500-foot pumps. So amazing there. And then the more I heard about your story, Rob Watt said that you were doing impressions in college, that you were able to do impressions of all your teammates. So that's kind of interesting that, this kind of carried over into your professional career there. I've always been fascinated by your channel, you talking about hitting, you talking about why you failed hitting wise. That was really interesting. And then you pivoted to this long drive, what you're doing now. So cool. So you're still able to crank and you pivoted that. So what a unique path. I got to know more. So who I spoke to in prep for this was Rob Watt, your head coach at Mount Olive. Awesome dude. And then Andrew Wall. You guys played summer ball together and then just kind of formed this really kind of beautiful friendship. And he played pro ball too. So we're going to get some clips from either of those guys. I want to start it off funny here. And I do all this research and I go back and listen to as much as I can. And in some of the research that I uncovered, I saw that you were a fan of the MVP video game series, at
Oh,
least
yeah.
in college. Which one
Yep.
of these is the best, my brother?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it would have been, was that '04 with Manny on the cover?
So I
Uh,
think Manny is the '05, and many regard this as,
'05,
as
yeah,
one of the greatest baseball video games of all time. It's very
yeah,
iconic.
yeah. That one's my favorite right
That's the
there.
one.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the
I've
greatest
spent a
baseball
lot of
video game
time.
of all time?
Um, I mean, I would probably say I spent the most time playing that one.
Yeah,
There was
for sure.
actually there's a gosh, I can't remember the name of it back in the day. I don't know if you ever played on Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
remember
oh,
Dreamcast.
yeah,
Yeah,
Dreamcast had a baseball game. I forgot the title of it, but my brother and I, we used to go and put in hours on that game too, but I think they shut that down. I think there's, like, a whole story about how Dreamcast was, like, giving out radiation or something like
hey, maybe that's how you got some of your special swing powers, my friend, like
Maybe.
Spider-Man or something. Um, before we get going on our questions here, I'd love to hear about how you're doing, man, and tell me a little bit about what life is like for you these days.
Yeah, no, things are honestly, when I explain it to people, it quite literally is living the dream right now.
Yeah,
I've been doing social media full time now for 2 years and super blessed. But it didn't come, without the hard work getting into it.
sure.
Right now I have two little ones at home. I got a 3-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter who they both started my son started T-ball practice this
I
week.
saw some of those. That's awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah, and my daughter, she's 5, but they start coach pitch here at 5.
yeah. Really,
So,
that sounds young.
it is very young and,
Yeah.
but I might be the designated pitcher 'cause tried last practice to pitch for the first time, and I was just finding barrels, so we'll, uh, we'll see, maybe we'll have a good offense, but no, so that's
Yeah,
exciting and, I'm here in South Carolina now enjoying the
yeah,
the warmer weather, moving down from Buffalo, New York, and
yeah,
it's been really sunny lately, and, no, like I said, life is good, and,
yeah,
um, something every day in social media. I mean, it's stuff that you get to look forward to. I got so many cool things coming up, and, just, the people you meet in social media and stuff like
oh
that,
yeah,
and childhood heroes, and it is surreal at times. Like there's
Yeah.
things that I've done in the last couple years. I'm like, I look back, I'm like, did I even like
Wow.
realize it? Like, I wish I could
In the
have lived in
moment.
that moment longer because I feel like I didn't really appreciate how cool these things were. So
Yeah.
we could get into some of those things, but no, like I said, life's good right now.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old too, and we're in coach pitch, and I'm right there with you, brother. So, let's we'll get to all that, and all your swingman stuff, which is just so fascinating. But let's start with we're gonna build your kind of whole story here of how we're shaped through baseball. So I'd love to hear kind of like what your earliest memories of baseball were. Anything stand out there?
Um, I would say like it's tough because I mean I have some like really old clips of me playing t-ball. I wouldn't say I necessarily remember like playing t-ball, but
Mhm.
like those are when I think of like my early memories, I always like think of those videos I'd watch of me like playing back then. But I would say probably like in terms of probably the biggest moments at a young age was just me and my brother. My brother's a year and a half older than me,
Mhm.
um, and we actually still play together in men's leagues, which is awesome.
I see the clips. Yeah.
So yeah, at a young age, we were just playing baseball nonstop in the backyard.
Yeah.
In Cheektowaga, where I was born and raised, my parents had a fairly large backyard, and it was like a perfect spot where we had the layout where we had like this tree's the upper deck,
Yeah.
we had all this stuff, and we would just
Oh,
be
yeah.
back there playing baseball day in and day out. It's probably my earliest memories of playing ball.
That's beautiful. And you kinda just answered the next question, unless you have anything else there, but I wanted to ask, are there any special memories from Little League or stories or anything that stand out that were important to you?
Yeah, I mean, Little League, I mean, we're talking like up to you'd say about 12 U or so.
Yeah, I think that that's what I would consider Little League, yeah.
Yeah, so uh, I would say probably when I was 10. Now I wasn't like considered to be like one of the better players on the team. At least
Yeah.
at that time, the coaching staffs that I had,
Yeah, yeah.
because we'd play, we had our house leagues that my father coached
Yeah.
um, at a young age, and every other year my brother and I would play together, just the way the ages matched up.
Yeah.
But then when travel ball started at like 8U, 9U, I was kind of like I was riding the pine. I wasn't really playing much. If
Really?
I was like bottom of the order. When I was 10 years old, my brother was 12. My brother was the most insane baseball player at a young age. Like, uh, at when he played 25 games at 12 years old, he had 29 home runs. Um, he was just like it was absurd, and, like, watching him, like, that's all I was like, "How the heck does he do it?" And I was,
Yeah.
just trying to play catch up, as the younger sibling,
Yeah.
and at 10U, I was just riding the bench all the time, and I was just so frustrated, and I just, like I remember telling my parents I, like, didn't wanna play baseball anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, this story has helped a lot of kids that I worked with, down the line when I started giving baseball lessons, um, but yeah, I was, kinda tired of it, and then my parents convinced me, I'm good, just stick with it, you'll start playing, and sure enough, the following year, we had new coaching staff, and I was in the lineup consistently and kinda built up that,
Yeah.
the confidence of playing every day, and then slowly, like, between 11 to 12, started, shifting to being one of the better guys on the team, but yeah,
Yeah.
I almost quit baseball at 10U.
That's crazy. Man, what became of your brother's career?
So he ended up, so he went through high school, same thing. He just absolutely raked through high school. Now he's a switch hitter as well,
Yeah.
but I started switch hitting my first at bat at 12U, full switching at 13.
Really?
My brother decided to full switch hit his senior year in high school.
That's late.
Um,
Yeah.
and he still did really well, but he went to University at Buffalo,
Mhm.
which at the time was Division One.
Yeah.
And he was there for 2 years. He really just got the worst experience of college baseball because they basically gave him, I don't know, just a handful of bats, his freshman year, so he didn't get to redshirt, so he lost a whole season.
Lost
I'm
the
like,
whole year. I
yeah.
hate when coaches do that, right?
Yeah,
Burn a whole
I
year.
think he had a multi-hit game his very first game and then didn't play again for, like, another month. Um, and then he had under 10 at bats, I think, his freshman year. And then, next year, same thing, just, um yeah, just a bad experience. So he transferred to Mercyhurst,
Okay.
um, and trying to get a better experience. And yeah, just same thing. I think he had 20 at bats at Mercyhurst. So he just never had a
Yeah.
good sample size or a chance to prove himself.
The right
And
situation. Yeah.
yeah, he ended up basically, quitting college baseball, which was tough for me when I got that phone call. I was at
Sure.
Stony Brook at the time as a freshman,
Big
and then
big brother, yeah.
yeah, but no, and then for a while, it's kind of cool now because like when he started playing men's league after, and he was working like corporate type stuff, which he didn't like to do, but he was still playing men's league, and you could tell confidence-wise, he struggled. Like, his confidence in baseball was just so low,
Yeah.
and now that we play together here now, it's crazy. He's like our shortstop. Like, he's the guy,
Yeah.
and he's got great hands. Like, he's always had good hands, but then he, like, lost it. He lost the confidence, and then now he's kind of fell into his own, and,
It's fascinating.
yeah, but no, it's, interesting career, coulda went different, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool that we get to still enjoy the game together.
Absolutely, that's beautiful. So you talked about, early in your life, wanting to kinda give up baseball at one point. When do you feel like the game kinda grabbed you? Like, when did you fall in love with it and decide this is gonna be my path from here on out?
Um, I would say, like, when I was, 12U was when I actually hit my first over the fence home run.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously very, like, fulfilling feeling, it's something you never felt before, you know?
Right? Yeah.
Um
And you want more of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
weird because like, when I was a freshman in high school, I got pulled up to varsity, and I got to play with my brother there, and it's like, Um, my very first at bat, I had a 3-run home run, and as far as, like, being serious about, like, moving forward, I can't say I'd never didn't have the dream of playing professional baseball, like, I
Uh-huh.
was I was such a fan of, like, players. I wasn't a team fan growing up,
Interesting.
but, like, Ken Griffey Jr. is my favorite player. I'd watch all of his highlights, and
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez was my favorite right-handed hitter,
Sure.
but I mean, like, Frank Thomas was my brother's favorite player, and
Yeah.
obviously we had the home run race in '98. I was 10 years old. Um,
Yeah.
so like, all those things, I would say at a young age, I wanted to be a major leaguer,
Yeah.
um, but in terms of, like, actually seriously, like, thinking about it, I would say it was some point during between, like, my freshman and junior in high school
Okay.
where it kinda, like, stood out, like, how much better I was,
Yeah.
and than the guys around me, so yeah, that's kinda when it started, I would say.
Okay. For sure. That makes sense to me. What about, like, travel ball? What was your experience there? When did you start, if you did? And were there any kinda special programs or teams that you wanna talk about a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, in Cheektowaga at that time, I wouldn't say the programs were, like, crazy like they are now. Like, we had, Inferno Baseball, started up, um, they were in the town next to us, so basically, like you mentioned before, I used to wrestle in high school. Well,
Yeah.
I stopped wrestling after my sophomore year, to help basically build an indoor facility for Inferno Baseball. My brother was like they were like the first team of Inferno Baseball, and then I was like the next up. So that
Yeah.
was, like, in my opinion, probably the biggest travel ball program that was starting up in that time frame.
Mhm.
Inferno for my brother, he started at like 13, and then when I turned 12, no, yeah, it'd been 12. They started having more teams underneath. But it wasn't like, the coaches were great coaches, but I wouldn't say like there was a lot of in-depth instruction. A lot of it was just raw
Yeah.
talent. They recruited the best kids that could get along, and a lot
Yeah.
of us, still are in contact with each other, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's, I would say that that program was probably, the most memorable, and, um but it's not like today. Today's just it's insane what travel balls turn into.
Seriously. There's like 6 U travel teams and stuff like that, and I was
Yeah,
like, "What's going on here?"
yeah,
Yeah, but there's no way to put the genie back in the bottle now.
yeah.
Talk to me about how mom and dad supported your career, and then secondly, we'll just start there, and then I'll add a second part to it, but I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, you know, it it in terms of support, I don't think there's 2 parents that I could even compare to. Like, we had a game last night. My brother's gonna be turning 40 this year. I'm 38, and
Yeah,
my parents were at our game last night. Like,
that's
they're at
awesome.
every game. When they're not at a game,
Not
people are
missing them still.
yeah, our teammates are like, "Are your parents okay?" Like, they're not like, we don't see them. Like, yeah, because we are so used to I mean, when I tell you they probably watched I had mostly both of them, but, like, when we were in college and traveling, like, they obviously had to split up, but, you know, haven't they probably showed up to over, like, 90% of my baseball games,
Wow.
in my life. Like, I had 1 or both of them there. Yeah, the support was just absurd through them, and,
Yeah.
my dad didn't play baseball, growing up, but he kinda
Okay.
learned it as we were learning it.
Interesting.
He
Okay.
was my little league coach.
Yeah.
He would he learned how to throw BP. He threw great BP to us, growing up, but he was working a lot too. So he like work, he owned his own construction company and he'd
Yeah.
come home late a lot of nights and my brother and I would be in the backyard. Luckily we had each other because we were, you
Yeah.
know,
Built-in
my
practice
mom
partner.
my mom
Yeah.
would always joke that she had the best babysitter because she would just put all our baseball equipment in the backyard and then we would be there for the rest of the day.
Oh, I love that, man. That's great. So 4-year letter winner in high school, multiple, like I said, wrestling. That was interesting. Wrestling and volleyball. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting
Yeah.
mix of sports there. All New York everything. Anything stand out from your high school career, stories, memories, important experiences that you want to talk about or that helped shape you or anything like that jump out?
Um, you know, I would say not really too much. I mean, I enjoyed high school sports. I wouldn't say like there's anything that really stood out exciting wise.
Okay.
You know, volleyball. If I didn't play baseball, I'd have went on to college to play volleyball. Like
Really?
I was a fairly good volleyball player.
Mhm.
I had a good vert, like the Orioles organization. I had the second highest vertical, like on all the
Oh,
minor
wow.
leaguers. Um, but but no, I really loved volleyball. Like, even after, I was done playing it in high school, like, any chance I had to go play volleyball or pick up volleyball games, like, I do love the sport, but
Yeah.
wrestling was fun, but wrestling was one of those things where I just kinda hung it up, you know, cutting weight to do that was kinda, like, counterproductive to baseball. I was trying to bulk up, for baseball and,
Yeah.
ended up dropping that, but I did thoroughly enjoy wrestling as well.
Okay. Right on then. How did we end up at Stony Brook? I'd love to hear about your recruitment. Was there any pro attention coming out of high school, or how'd that go for you?
Yeah, I didn't have any, didn't talk to any pro scouts or anything out of high school. Um, when I was getting recruited, I had my brother went to university at Buffalo, so,
Yeah.
I did a recruiting trip there, and, I was, like, kinda mentally set on going to UB. I had a couple of friends that played there, that would be a cool opportunity, and I get to stay at home.
Yeah.
Um, but I did do a visit. I had a few interests from other schools. I ended up, looking at Stony Brook and looking at some of the guys that got drafted out there. I'm like, all right, maybe this might be a good fit. It's still in New York, but it was over 8 hours from my house. Like,
Yeah.
New York's a pretty big state. So,
Sure.
um, ended up doing a trip there. It was a good trip, but again, I was settled on Buffalo. So, Coach Matt Sank over at Stony Brook, I remember he was pretty confident I was going there,
Really?
and he called the one night and I basically told him, I'm probably gonna end up going with UB. And he's like, "Well, I thought like the trip went well." I was like, "It did, but I'm kind of leaning towards this." And then he's like, "What's your schedule tomorrow?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What's your schedule?" I was like, "Well, I just got school and I got a volleyball game later." He's like, "You mind if I come watch?" I'm like, "Okay." So he books a flight like, the next
Wow.
day, and he shows up to my volleyball game and watches it, then he comes home with us and has dinner with me and my family, and, he's wearing his conference championship ring, and,
That
he's
extra
just
effort.
putting up
Yeah.
yeah, so, um, they had, like, a pretty stud shortstop, Andres Perez at the time, or he just got picked up and signed
Yeah.
professionally, and he's basically telling me his story and how they see me as like a replacement because I was a shortstop in high
Right.
school and I was getting recruited as a shortstop.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was like one of those things, my parents never experienced anything like that. I
Right.
never did. And
Getting
just
wooed. Yeah.
rolled out the red carpet for us, showed us the offer,
Yeah.
pretty much a full scholarship.
Right.
And then yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, I guess I'll go to Stony Brook.
Change it
So
up then.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So then let's get to Stony Brook then. In an interesting freshman year, and you've had a really interesting college career, and I'm kind of fascinated to hear your thoughts on it. So, 31 games, 81 at bats, one pump, seven doubles, 284. So I mean, by all a pretty strong freshman showing. Considering not a ton of freshmen are going to be thrown right into the lineup as a starter, but you were certainly getting some time. I would imagine with those numbers, you would think that the future was bright in terms of playing and whatnot. I'd love to hear about what was your experience like there showing up in the fall? Did you feel like you belonged, overwhelmed, anything like that? What you got?
The fall was a like, my freshman fall was absurd. Um,
You killed it?
absolutely killed it. Like, it
Beautiful.
was yeah, it was like, when I tell you it was insane, we did we did an exhibition game, a doubleheader against it was a team from Pittsburgh, it was a Division II team, um, I think it was a Division II team, but that was, like, our first, like, fall, like, game, like, it was, like, this, an actual other college team, and they're trying to
Yeah.
beat us. I ended up going 6 for 6. I hit a single, double, triple right-handed, and I went 2 doubles and a home run left-handed. That was my first time, like, playing in live games with Stony Brook.
Like, who
Um,
is this guy? This guy should be in the
yeah.
SEC.
But that was like hey, I had a solid fall, and then we went to the season, our first series my freshman year was against UNC Chapel Hill, who they were
Yeah,
ranked number 1, at the time.
yeah.
And, UNC's pitching's a little different than Cheektowaga baseball pitching. Uh, so yeah, it definitely was a shock. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously we had some good pitchers on our team and stuff like that, but it was, I mean, we faced them, and I think our second series was against, Coastal. No, it wasn't
cool.
Coastal. Who was it? It was another Carolina team that was up there at the time. But we, yeah, I mean, I came out of the gates and kind of struggled in my sense. And then they didn't actually never got a game at short. They ended up moving me to third base. I bulked up a little bit and they slid
Yeah,
me to the corner.
okay.
So I was kind of like, mixing in time at third base. So that was my
Mhm.
freshman year. Like I said, it was okay, but it
Yeah.
wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah. So, all the guys that I spoke to, and obviously you can see in your videos, you are clearly a strength and conditioning guy. They talked about the shape that you were in and whatnot. Was it cool getting to, a college with a real strength and conditioning program, and how did that go for you? Or were you already lifting weights before this, and that was kind of your bag,
Yeah.
or what?
Yeah, I started getting to the gym my, senior year in high school, but it was all like, you're getting into it, so you just get obsessed with the beach muscle stuff,
Yeah.
so,
Right.
it was all upper body, all that, and when I got to Stony Brook's the whole workout program was very, I don't know, cookie cutter, like, it felt like we were just a bunch of, like, football players, like, working out. There wasn't
I had the
anything really.
exact same experience in college. Yep.
Yeah, so Stony Brook's whole program would just didn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, at the time, it was what it was. But
Yeah.
now looking back, I'm like, that didn't make any sense. Like, why, and crazy to look now where training has gone.
Right.
Um,
Like
but no,
heavy flat bar bench and stuff like that, and just
yeah,
things
I
that you
was.
probably wouldn't do now as a throwing athlete. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, I was definitely a gym rat. That was,
Yeah.
I would work out with the team. I'd also like in my dorm at like night, I had like, my neighbor in the dorm, we'd go and to the gym and work out every night. Like
Yeah.
it was part of my lifestyle
For
as
sure.
far as that goes.
Now, did you feel like it was a fit there at Stony Brook? Like this is where you were supposed to be at this time?
Absolutely not. Well,
Really?
my freshman year, I was homesick. Um, it was tough. Me and my family were super close. I was close
Mhm.
with my brother. It was weird being away for that long.
Yeah.
Um, some of the upperclassmen, I don't know, had issues with me. It was just it was just weird. And it wasn't like I don't I feel like I'm a pretty casual dude. Like I don't really
Yeah.
do anything crazy. But yeah, it just seemed like some guys, you know, didn't at least that's how they projected it to me,
Yeah.
and maybe reading it wrong because I was at a young age and I was away from home and maybe over analyzing stuff a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, Stony Brook my freshman year, I wasn't too happy. But what ended up happening my freshman year, like right at the end, because I pitched in high school,
Yeah.
and I told him I was like, I could pitch, and I knew that we had a hole. Like we didn't have a closer,
Yeah.
um, and at first they were like, "No, no, no." Like, they'd joke with me. I'm like, "Get me on the bump. Like, let me throw a bullpen."
Right.
And finally, at the end of the season, like, "All right, we'll give you 10 pitches." The pitching coach, Anthony Stuss, he's like, "All right, you get 10 fastballs." I was like, "All right." And,
What'd you hit?
uh, Justin Echeverria, our catcher, he's, like, set up down the middle. I was like, "No." I was like, "Switch corners every pitch." And
Yeah.
then he just kept going out, in, and I did 10 fastballs, just 10 strikes,
Got
and they're
him.
like, "All right, we'll try it out in the fall." So yeah, I
Yeah.
came back my sophomore year, and the sophomore year was, like, a shift because now it became like, they told me, like, "All right, we're gonna try to get you to be our closer this year." I was
Really?
like, "Sweet." Yeah,
What were you hitting velo? Low?
so at that time, I was like touching like 90, 91.
Yeah.
But my first outing in the fall, our pitching coach, like, completely changed my windup. And at the time, like, we had like K-Rod was like one of the biggest closers at the time. And he like tried to
Yeah.
get me to like mimic him.
Really?
And it didn't make any sense because I didn't even throw live yet. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to like do this move. And I'm, like, sitting, like, 88, just getting shelled by our
Yeah.
guys, and after, like, 2 outings in the fall, I'm like, "Hey, can I just, like, throw, like, how I wanna throw?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, go ahead." So, like, I ended up hitting 93 and
Oh,
was just
shit.
carving guys,
Yeah.
and
Let's
so
go.
then after that, like, going in, had a good fall, and, yeah, they were like, "Alright, you're gonna be starting in right field, you're gonna be closing for us." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "That's awesome."
I'm
So,
with that.
I came in and I just started going off, like,
Yeah.
I was hitting well, I was knocking in runs, I was hitting cleanup, I
Yeah.
was coming in and closing games. Yeah, sophomore year just completely changed it for me, like, in terms
Mhm.
of, like, my mentality, 'cause,
Yeah.
freshman year, it's, like, one of those things where it's like, "Do I fit here?"
Right.
Like, I'm going from a small high school, now I'm in
Yeah.
Division I college, and had an okay year, I'm not sure if, like,
Right.
it's gonna get better for me, and then all of a sudden, sophomore year comes, I'm, like, up for stopper of the year for Division I college as a pitcher,
Yeah.
I'm averaging 2 strikeouts an inning, giving up no runs, and yeah, and then it was a game actually, it was against UVA, um, during one of our road trips during spring break that honestly completely changed my path with Stony Brook.
Let's go.
Uh, so we show up, at Virginia, and at the time, they were ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So our coach comes in the outfield, we're warming up, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, Jeremy," he's like, "We don't have any more starters on this trip." He's like, "We're gonna split this into like a full like reliever bullpen day." He's like,
Yeah.
"Can you give me 2 innings to start this game?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely."
Yeah.
So go out there at first inning, 1, 2, 3. Um, Go out the second inning, 1, 2, 3, and he's like, "Can you go out a third?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could go out a third."
Go.
And so I got out the third inning, 1, 2, 3. I think it was like the top of the fourth. It was either top of third, top or fourth. It was bases loaded. They had a lefty in. I come up right-handed. I rip a single up the middle, score 2 runs. So
Yeah.
we're up 2-0.
Yeah.
So I get through the fourth, 1, 2, 3. You go out again? Yeah, yeah, get me out there. So we're in the fifth inning now. I ended up I gave up a solo home run, so we're up 2-1. But then, got the rest of the guys out, and so now it's going to 6. You wanna go out again? Yeah, send me out there. Like, I'm not gonna kill myself, you know?
Right.
Granted, the most pitches I threw in an outing at this point was like 20, 25, 20 pitches maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm getting sent out there again. In the
Mhm.
6th inning, I came up left-handed with no one on. I hit an opposite field home run.
Yeah.
So now I have 3 RBIs. We're up 3-1 against the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah.
And, so I get through the 6th, go 1, 2, 3, sends me out to I get through the 7th, and
Really?
that yep, and now we're going into the 8th inning,
No, he didn't
and
send you back out there, did he?
he sent me I was 111 pitches deep going
What?
out, and
What's going on?
again, he's like, "Give me 1 more." I'm like, "Alright." Like,
So he
I
he just
wasn't
is like
I was
he just wants to beat Virginia at
Yeah,
this point. He doesn't really care what else is
exactly.
going on. Yeah.
And I did too, everyone wanted to. So,
Right, like,
like
let's get this dub, yeah.
yeah, um so leadoff hitter was their number 3 hitter, who at the time, like, one of the top hitters in the country. I struck him out twice that game already. He goes up there, he lays down a bunt, and, like, me being a shortstop, like, I ran down to, like, third base, bare hand, like, 1 foot, throw it to first, safe. I'm like, "Dang. Alright, whatever."
Yeah.
Cleanup hitter comes up. I K'd him twice in the game. He comes up, big righty, and, uh I throw he lays down a bunt, and all of us just stared at it like we didn't think this guy was gonna bunt, like,
Yeah.
but first 2 guys get on bunts, we're like, "Oh my god," like, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know what it was, like, just mentally, it's like you could start feeling the fatigue just start setting in. Next guy ended up walking, and then they ended up taking me out of the game.
Okay.
Um, and then, yeah, they ended up scoring we ended up losing the game 5-3. So that inning, they scored 4 runs,
Mhm.
but it was like the first guy when I got pulled hit a ground ball to our third baseman, easy double play ball, and he bobble, 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 dropped it. So 1 run scores. Next guy hits another ground ball, gets stopped by an infielder, another run scores. They didn't
Could have
hit a
been a lot
ball
less. Yeah.
yeah, it was just one of those games that kind of slipped away from us.
Yeah.
I remember like, their head coach coming up to me after the game and like looked me in the eyes. He's like, "That was, like, quite the
Solid.
performance." Yeah,
Yeah.
and, that for me, like, I'm like, "This is sick." Like, not only am I, like, showing, like, I'm one of the better guys on my team, I could show that
Country.
I could be with this team too.
Yeah.
Um, but what happened was we ended up well, before we got home, we still had to make our trip to Longwood, on our way back. So this was I think it was a Sunday game we faced no, it wouldn't have been Sunday. It was like a I don't know, Monday, Tuesday game, whatever it was, when
Mhm.
we faced Virginia. And then we had 1 day off, and then we're facing Longwood. So now I finished that game with 132 pitches.
Whew.
Yeah. Now I have 1 day in between for so now we
He
get to
didn't throw you
Longwood.
again, did he?
We're in the 8th inning tied, and
No.
he asked if I could give him 1 inning. We went
Like 2 days
he
later?
2 yeah, I had 1 day off, so this 2 days later, after
Man,
132 pitches, I go in there and
scary.
I end up on the mound for 4 innings. We went to extras, and he kept me in there. So I
No.
went 80 more pitches on 1 day's rest,
Man,
and
that's
and,
abusive.
well, at the time, again, I'm a gamer. I don't
Right. You're like,
I
"You're gonna
and
step up?"
I'm still young. I don't like, it's not and I'm performing, so, like, I don't care at the time, not realizing what it was doing to my arm, doing to, like, um, but,
Yeah.
yeah, we ended up getting back home, and we had 3 or 4 of us outfielders. Again, I was a starting right fielder. I was on pace to break our RBI record that year.
Yeah.
Um, but, yeah, he sat us all outfielders on the bench and basically told me they're gonna take me out of the closing role and turn me into a Sunday starter,
I
which
saw that you
Sunday
had 6 starts for the rest of the year, yeah.
yeah, so, like, the Sundays were blowouts every Sunday, like, it was just you know, on Sundays, it's just every team didn't have their best guys out on Sunday,
Right.
and, yeah, he took me out of the closing role, which was my, like, favorite one of my favorite things to do,
Preferred that, yeah.
and then they said, to give on that Sunday, they're gonna take me out of the lineup, get one of the other guys in there, so I could just focus on pitching. I'm like, "I don't like the sound of that," you
Yeah.
know? Um but that's ended up what happened, and then all of a sudden, like, midweek games, he wouldn't play me. He's like, "You need to rest." I was like now I'm
Oh,
like yeah, so now he's just you just took your cleanup hitter, your starting right fielder, and you just slowly pulled him out of the lineup because I had one good start against UVA,
right.
and you just took your like, I was up for stopper of the year. You had someone that could have won the best reliever in the nation, and that article came out right before that game against Virginia, and then you just
Yeah.
took him out of that role, like, it just for me, like, the stats my pitching stats do not reflect how good of a closer I was. Like
Yeah.
if
Well
you
said.
take my sophomore, I want to say might have had like one closing situation my junior year,
Yeah.
but and then I closed for Mount Olive, but I don't think I gave up an earned run as a closer, and I was over 2 strikeouts in innings pitched as a closer.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make sense to me. It did but like I said, it was like one of those games where I thought like this just took me to another level, but it all of a
Right.
sudden just completely shifted in the opposite direction.
Changed your path, or at least how they wanted how they wanted to use you. Yeah, that must have been and did you see yourself more as a position player at this point and just you were pitching as well, or was it mixed, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I've always yeah, I would always consider myself, offensive guy, like,
Right.
I loved hitting so much. Pitching just came easy to me, like and I think a lot of it is just, like, I didn't care about it. Like, I just threw
Right.
really hard. I had a very good slider,
Yeah.
and I didn't care who I was facing, like, "Go ahead, try to hit me." It was kinda like my mentality, which I wish I had that confidence at the plate, growing up and stuff, but yeah, I would say I was more of a position player But yeah, in that sophomore year too, like we ended up winning our conference. We did our regional in Arizona State. So it was
Oh,
us,
cool.
Arizona State, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it was just a ridiculous like experience. And I won team MVP going into it. We had our award ceremony. They didn't give me one at bat. We faced ASU and
Man.
Vanderbilt, and I remember we lost, I think 9-1 to ASU, and then we went against Vanderbilt, and I think it was the same thing, something like 8-1 or 9-1. And they sent me out on the mound in like the 6th or 7th inning. That was the first time I touched 95,
Wow.
'cause I was so mad. But, but yeah, it was pretty bizarre, and we had like our, at the end of the year meetings with the coaches, and I was just so distraught. Like
Yeah.
I was already like progressively getting more upset, like
Yeah.
because again my role change and my the least amount of pitches they kept me out for after they changed me to start is 111 pitches. That was the
Man.
shortest outing they kept me out for. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
ended up like
what was
just
this end of the season conversation like? And were you able to voice, how you wanted to play, like how you wanted to be a closer and play in the outfield? Were you able to say that? Was that heard, or how did that
yeah,
go?
I mean, I said it. They didn't agree with it because they're just basically like, I just got to know my role. Like my role changed because it was best for the team,
Hmm.
and that's what I got to like be happy with and do it. It's like, and I told him straight up, I'm like, honestly, like that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. You guys, like, I was voted team MVP. I would trade away that award for one at bat. Like,
Man. Yeah.
honestly, like, that's how much going there meant to me, and I feel like I deserved a chance to, like,
Yeah.
be a part of it, and you guys, the only time you put me in, like, we're down, like, 7 runs in the 6th or 7th inning, like, as a pitcher,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like, I don't know, it's just and again, anytime I try to voice myself with the Stony Brook coaching staff, it just oh my gosh,
Deaf ears.
it was some of the worst, like, experiences trying to talk or see if that was my first time I'd say, like, I was in a situation where I tried to open up to someone, and
Yeah.
then it felt like it just, almost like I was wrong for having my own feelings and opinion. And it was such a
Yeah.
bizarre feeling as an
Yeah.
athlete, as a person who grew up, like, in a very good family, and, you
Yeah.
know, um, I felt like I was doing the right thing by speaking my mind and not keeping my
Right.
mouth shut, and
Yeah.
then it just got thrown right back in my face, and it led me into my junior year.
So you couldn't have been feeling great going into your junior year with kind of how they're not listening to you, how they're planning on using you. What did that? Where was your head at?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean,
Yeah.
I I didn't know, like, I was nervous about what my role would be the next year because, like,
Right.
they were able to take that away from me so fast, but I was
Yeah.
like, mentally, I go into my summer league, in, Holyoke, Massachusetts,
Hmm.
and I
What
just
league
had
was this? Because I
uh,
couldn't find the summer ball stuff on you.
yeah, so that was the New England League.
Okay.
Um,
The
that's
NECBL.
yeah,
Okay.
um, so I was there in Holyoke, and I had the mentality of just, "All right, let me just get my swing going,
Hmm.
get my innings on the mound," or, I was a closer there as well. Um, it was okay, summer. I can't remember my stats for that summer, but, going into my junior year, like, we had our meetings when we came in, and essentially they told me they, want me back in the role of right fielder, closer. I'm like, "Yes, that's what I wanna do." Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm built for. So, like,
Hmm.
I was mentally set. They would come in, I'd throw short bullpens. If we're doing inter squads or whatever, like, I'm throwing 1 inning.
Yeah.
We get into the season, all of a sudden, like, we start the season, I didn't play the first, like, 7 games. Then, like
67 at bats on the year.
yes. So,
Rough.
like, now I'm sitting there, I'm like, we're going through, like, 2 series, I haven't seen that bat. I'm like, "What are we doing?" Like,
Right.
not playing the field, and then all of a sudden they put me in, like, a 5th inning for, like, long relief, and, like, their pitching coach is telling me, "Hey, we're gonna keep you in for, like, 3 innings, like, don't blow it all out, like, you're not closing, so
Yeah.
don't go and air it out." I'm like, "What?" So, yeah, just start getting shelled, like, trying to just, like,
So like a total
take me
miscommunication too between the coaching staff, what they were telling you was going to be your
yeah,
role, and how they saw you and what was actually happening. Yeah.
yeah, and that's,
Mhm.
like that part really
So frustrating.
frustrated
Oh
me.
man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it was, like I said, it was one of those things I went through my whole junior year just confused, upset. Same like,
Yeah.
once they started me on the mound again, it was the same thing. Like I wouldn't get pulled without like you. That's when I started first getting tendonitis in my elbow,
Yeah.
and it was like affecting me, like being able to just hit right-handed and stuff like that. Like I couldn't get my arm in the slot anymore. Like it was just, it was tough because
Yeah.
I didn't know even when I was like rehab, I didn't even know what I was getting ready for. Like,
Right.
um, it, and it was brutal. So I get through my, my junior year. I had less at bats in my freshman year,
Yeah.
and that end
20,
of the year,
25 innings on the mound, 4
yeah, and
saves.
that end of the year meeting was one of the worst experiences in uh around a baseball environment because yeah, I went in there as emotional. I was like,
Yeah.
I just threw a whole season away. Like,
Right. Yeah. What are you
um,
doing?
yeah, what are we doing? Like, I didn't know what my role was, and then when I wasn't performing, they were mad at me, and
Mhm.
it
I've
it
been
was
there
just like
too.
this weird, yeah. So, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, you guys told me this was gonna be my role, and it wasn't that at all. And honestly, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know what like. Do you guys even like? I don't know if you consider me like to be one of your top guys anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Um, And then my head coach, Matt Sank, at that time, we're sitting down. This honestly happened. And he goes, Jeremy, he's like, I understand like your frustrations and stuff. And, and truth be told, he's like, I'm not saying you faked your injuries, but we really could have used you out there. Like,
Oh, man.
are you kidding me? Like,
Man,
fake my injury? Like, I had 2 outings over 130 pitches.
that's a
Like,
very bold thing to say to someone. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah. And it was like I said, like, and it took a moment to realize what he just said, but I was like, took a deep breath, and I always like, I don't like to escalate situations. Like when I see a situation could get like it's just out of hand, like there's no controlling this. I just want out. So,
Yeah.
they're like, so what are you planning this summer? Because I was going back to Holyoke in the NECBL.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm gonna go back to work and do the same thing I did last summer, try to get my swing back and all this, get at bats in. And I want to come in here. I want to be our right fielder. I want to be our closer. Like that's where I know I'm going to be the best fit for this team, and I'm going to help out this team the most I can.
Mhm.
And then, and I got up to leave the meeting, and then he like stopped me. He's like, "What if we only want you to pitch next year?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What if you come back and we say we just want you to pitch? Then what?" I'm like, how are you saying that as I'm walking out of the room? Like I just told you I don't know my role, and you're gonna just drop that bomb on me like as
Right.
I'm walking out. Like what is going on? Like
That's a
it
weak
almost
move.
felt like this a game with me. Like it,
Right.
and again, I was an extremely frustrating year,
Yeah.
and it ended up rolling into that summer. Go back to Holyoke, first week of the season, no at bats. And I'm like my mind's just like crazy because I'm in the cage. I'm the first one there, last one to leave. Like I'm a switch hitter. I got twice as much to work on and keep up,
Yeah.
and I'm not getting at bats. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and then finally our host coordinator, for those that don't know, help s- the situations for all us players to get host families and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she ended up texting me on the side. She's like, "Hey, Jeremy, like I just feel the need to text you. I just was in part of a meeting the coaches were at, and they started talking about how they're only going to use you as a pitcher and
Oh,
how
man.
like what they could say to you to keep you around for that." I'm like, "Are you
Wow.
kidding me?" Yeah,
Man.
so then I got a bunch of people just trying to like egg me on to keep me working hard to like tell me, "Oh yeah, you're going to do this. Like keep working hard." Like,
Well, why not just be transparent and be like, "This is
yeah,
what we
no one
need.
was
We
being
don't need a hitter." So then you can
yeah.
go somewhere else, right? Yeah.
Yes. So, and that's exactly like I ended up calling a meeting with the coaches and I asked them straight up. I'm like, "What am I doing here? Like, what are you
Yeah.
guys' plans?" And then that's when they said, they're like, "We got these guys. They're getting starting spots, so like they need more at bats than you." I'm like, "All right, you know what?" I was like, I can't spend a whole summer just pitching. Like,
Yeah.
and so our first game of that year was like an exhibition game against a team from the ECBL, which was all JUCO like D3 guys,
Yeah.
and that's one of the guys you interviewed,
Andrew.
Andrew Wall. So he
Yeah.
played on that team. He was their ace,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I pitched against him, and I was like sitting like 94,
Yeah.
and right away like they're like, "All right, we got this team that might take you." And
Yeah.
that's when I ended up packing my stuff up and going to Utica.
That's beautiful.
But
That's a perfect place to we've got some Andrew Wall clips here. How about we play a couple of them and then
yeah,
we
let's
can
hear
rip
it.
off them. All right, go. This one is first impressions. I like this is a funny one. Here we go. This is Andrew Wall.
Yeah, so it's funny because I told him that we were going to be having this conversation and kind of
Hmm.
catching up, and I'd be giving a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you gonna tell him that when I first showed up on the team, everybody thought that I was a big jerk, like I was just this cocky, like I mean, Jeremy was probably like a buck 90 with like 4% body fat and was
Jacked.
just
Yeah.
ripped
Yep.
and so we're like, who the heck is this guy? Like, here we are, a bunch of like D3, like average guys, and now we're bringing in this stud to like replace us
This
all, or what's
jacked
happening
you.
here?
Yeah.
But he is so down to earth, one of the
Hmm.
nicest guys you'll ever meet. I think my very first impression of him, we were living in a set of dorms,
Hmm.
and I kind of kept to myself a little bit. I'm a little shyer before getting to know everybody, and it was kind of early on. So I went into one of the rooms that this new guy, Jeremy, was in, and we were all kind of playing Guitar Hero. Jeremy grabbed Guitar Hero, and it was a wireless controller. And if I think I'm remembering this correctly, he said, "Guys, watch this." He put it on expert, started the song, and was like hitting every note, every single, like absolutely perfect. Left the room for like 30 seconds, came back and did not miss a single beat. Like hit was still on like that perfect stretch score that they do in Guitar Hero. And I'm like, who the heck is this guy? Like, obviously, we know he throws hard. We know he can hit a ball a mile, but like, does anything that this guy touch turn to gold?
That's
And
great.
so that was kind of my first initial thing is like, this
Hmm.
guy just has an innate ability to anything he touches makes it perfect and he's able to accomplish and master it within seconds.
Yeah.
But the more I've gotten to know Jeremy is the attention to detail that that guy has. Like, yes, he has a really good body awareness and knows. I mean, he's an amazing pianist as well.
Awesome clip. You got anything there to piggyback on that? That's got some skills on the old Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time on Guitar Hero. That was my Stony Brook dorm days. Like we would do a lot of Call of Duty and a lot of Guitar
Yeah.
Hero. But no, it was funny because that first experience, like walking up with that team,
Hmm.
and then finally getting to know all the guys, like it was, maybe a month into it where they all admitted they're like, oh no, we had like full out talks with each other about how you're like the biggest like tool. And so I was like, what? I was like, it's like, but they're like, no, this is before we even like talked to you. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so you're just prejudging me like based on all this stuff. But it was, no, it was good. Like I said, it was really cool because those, especially coming from those Stony Brook, those rough days there,
Yeah.
and then that previous summer league, and now we're just in Utica, like in the middle of nowhere, and it was almost like just a full reset button on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And all these guys, like these D3 guys, it also brought a whole different mentality. Like I would say, like Stony Brook has in my opinion, a lot of prima donnas at the time. Like
Yeah. In
a
Division
lot
One
of
baseball, you're going to get that
Yes, exactly,
sometimes.
and yeah, a lot of people think, like, a lot of entitlement, a lot of, like, it was especially, like, just hanging out or going out with them, like, it was just, like, this energy I just didn't really I didn't mingle well with it,
Not a great fit. Yeah.
and, but yeah, like, going there, it was kind of like a full reset, and, it was really cool, like, meeting guys like Andrew
Yeah.
um, and then being able to, like, basically take a break from all of because even the NECBL at the time, it was one of the better
Yeah.
college summer leagues you could be in,
Absolutely.
and, it's kind of that same mentality. A lot of D1 guys, a lot of guys that, think they're, above everyone else,
Right.
and this league was not any of that.
No,
Like,
they're
it
just
was just
playing for the love of the game. You know.
exactly, and that's where it felt like I was just going to every game, like, relaxed,
Yeah.
but they
Did
had
you
me
rediscover a love for the game playing this summer too? Like,
I was able to kind of, like, gain confidence back because
yeah,
they put me in the closing role,
beautiful.
um that's honestly, pitching did open up doors for me, which,
Yeah,
it did lead
sure.
me to Mount Olive as well, um but yeah, so, like, showing up, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna use this guy as a closer, but he wants to play field, we'll give him a chance in the field." So they put me in the 9 hole. So I was, like, hitting in the 9 hole, but halfway through the year, I was hitting, like, 430. I was leading the league in hitting, in the 9 hole. And it was like,
Yep.
what am I still in the 9 hole? Like, and then
Right.
finally they're like, oh yeah, we should move him up in the order. So I was end up like third. And and yeah, I had a really good summer. And
Yeah.
so like partway through the summer, I ended up, I told my teammates my whole like everything I just told you about Stony
Yeah.
Brook, my
Yeah.
experiences, my end of the year meeting, because I'm fresh off of that end of year meeting too.
Yeah. Had you
And
already made the decision that you were gonna leave, or was this still just kinda floating in
no,
your head?
like I had no intention of leaving. I'm
Really?
playing
You're
this
just gonna stick it
season.
out? Yeah.
Yeah, still in the back of my head, like this could be my last go.
Yeah.
Like I had no intention on leaving at all.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that was an option. So, um, because transferring then wasn't like transferring now,
Yeah. You had to
right?
sit out a year in
Well,
Division I baseball, right?
yeah, well, yeah, if I go D1 to D1, I gotta sit out a year, and I only have 1 year left. So,
Right.
um, so I have to go D2 or lower, and I didn't like I said, I had no intention of transferring. I'm like, I'm our only senior position player coming back. I'm like, there's no way I'm not playing and
Right.
starting, you know? Um, so yeah, I remember like I told the guys my story with Stony Brook, and like at one point I was telling one of the teammates the story in the dugout, and it was before a game, and there was these advisors there, these agents, and they're kind of like, eavesdropping on my conversation
Mhm.
about, all this stuff. And yeah, they like pulled me to the side like after the game. They're like, yeah, we heard like it was Stony Brook not is it not going well there? I'm like, absolutely not. And they're like, really? Because I think there's
Going
only two
terrible.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's only two guys in the whole league that were playing D1 college.
Yeah.
And so I kind of told them the story, and they're like, they saw the talent. They're like,
Yeah.
if you're serious about playing baseball, you have to get out of there.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? It's like, yeah. Like there's some really good D2 schools out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, so like they kind of like gave me some info on schools to look at, and then
Yeah.
sent out some emails, and it's sent to Tampa. I
Oh,
forgot.
Tampa, nice, yeah.
Yeah, obviously Mount Olive, and I forgot what the third one was. But yeah, it was literally within the next day.
Ego-wise, was it hard for you to wrap your mind around, being like a D1 guy to, like, dropping down a level?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I held that D1 title like on a pedestal,
Yeah,
which
all of us do,
I
right? It's like something that
yes.
you want to get to as coming up in baseball, yeah.
Yeah, which I try to teach kids now that that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Uh, yeah. So, but yeah, at the time, I was like, I felt like I was giving up on myself by doing
Yeah,
it. You
right.
know.
Yeah,
Um. So yeah, I ended up, Coach Lancaster called from Mount Olive, and he asked me, he's like, "So tell me your stats." Like, I was like, "Well, I pretty much like 285 for 3 straight years at Stony Brook, switch hitter." I was like, "I got a lot of pop, but it just it hasn't translated into my stats yet." And
yeah,
um and he's like, you pitch too? I was like, yeah. I was like, I throw. I primarily like see myself as a closer. He's like, what's your velo at? I was like, well, I sit like 93, 94. I touched 95 last year. He's like, all right, we'll get you out here. It's like immediately, like he's like,
yes.
and then he's like, we can't have any more conversations until you get your release forms. I was like, oh, all right. So,
How'd that
so yeah,
conversation go?
yeah. So I ended up again. My experience with the head coach Matt Sank at Stony Brook was so bad.
Yeah,
Um, and everyone knew it on my team. So I ended up pulling everyone in the team or on my team into like one room, like where we're all staying. And I put him on speakerphone, and had everyone just stay quiet just so
oh
I could
boy,
like ask for my release forms.
interesting.
I never told anyone like that I did that, but
Yeah,
I think like for me nowadays, I just like, it was so bad back then. I don't really care.
yeah.
So, um, yeah, I ended up calling him, and he's like, "Hey, Jeremy, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, it's going great, man." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I had to switch summer leagues." He's like, "No, no, no, I'm fully aware. You're over at Utica." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, he's like, Everything going good?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm leading the league in hitting. I feel great. Like I feel like I got my swing back, and things are awesome." And he's like, "Oh, that's so good. That's glad. Like I'm glad to hear. This is gonna be a big year." I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So what's going on? Why'd you call?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I was just gonna try to ask for my release forms." And then he's just like, and then everyone in the room's like, like that. And
Right, yeah, what's
I'm
next?
just holding like, he's like, what was that? I was like, yeah, I just called because I just want my release forms. I want out. And then he's like, I don't understand. I was like, come on. I was like, you can't act like we didn't have that meeting at the end of the year.
Yeah,
And he's like, I don't know, what to say to you. I was like, listen, I was like, I just feel like it hasn't been working out. Like
Yeah.
I don't have much time now. Like I have to find somewhere else. Like because this is now going halfway through summer. Like I
Right.
haven't solidified anything yet. Um, and this was a Friday, so he's like, let me give you the weekend to think about it. I was like, Coach, I was like, I've been thinking about this since last year when
Yeah.
we sat down, and then this last meeting, it's just been eating me up. And
Yeah.
now I want to try to take this last chance to just get out of there, and it is what it is, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
ended up getting my release forms, and like I was a very very late transfer. Like it was like the
Yeah.
first day of classes. Like me and our head coach Lancaster, we were going to you know go see the dean and do all this stuff to get my credits transferred over. Like it was like a last second
Yeah.
transfer into Mount
Tough
Olive. So
one.
there was like a point there where it's like kind of scary because like I'm not really a student anywhere right now, and I have 1 year left. And but yeah, like I said, it kind of like segued into Mount Olive, which that was completely changed everything for
Yeah.
me in terms of my path.
And then
But
did you have discussions with Coach Rob Watt before you got there, or how did that go, or anything on that
I would
line?
say I think most of my conversations were with Coach Lancaster.
Okay.
I
Was
probably
he the
did
head
have.
coach at the time, and was Rob an assistant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Rob Watt is the head coach now, but at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time, Watt was the assistant coach.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like back then again, like Coach Watt wasn't who he was to me at the time. So like, it
Okay.
was just kind of a blur that
Yeah.
that
Sure.
whole transfer time. And um like I said, I was super blessed and lucky that I was able to get there in time and you know be able to be part of their program because that, like I said, it has another shift in my mind of like my experiences like when I go back in time, like between the travel ball little league through high school through college, D1 college, and then these summer leagues. Like you just see how baseball changes in different environments and like
Oh, yeah.
and how it affects you as an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it was like when I tell you, being from what I felt was the rock bottom as a baseball player
Yeah.
to a complete turnaround my senior year was just such
Yeah,
a cool.
did it just feel like you were reborn, like, as a person, as a player when you went there? Because obviously you were in the right environment to be the best player that you could be, because you just went off and set records. It must have been a great fit, or felt like it?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it was one of those things where I guess going there, it was the same mentality as my summer league. Like they knew I could throw hard, so I
Yeah,
know I have a spot as a closer, but still had to prove myself as a position player. So like
yeah.
I came off a summer of hitting really well, high average, but like no real power numbers. I think I only hit like again, just like my first 3 years in college, like one or
Couple.
two home runs, a lot of
Yeah,
doubles.
yeah,
But everything was just hit on a line.
yeah,
And uh freshman or fall comes around, and I mean I hit like 600 in the fall.
yeah,
Like we had Carter Caps is one of our, he was our ace. You
mhm,
had scouts everywhere. He's throwing 100 miles an hour.
yeah.
Um, so that helped. Like in the fall, kind of like we had scouts in and out of our, facility.
Coming to
And
see him, and then they would see you as well.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, that's how it works
exactly.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So I just stayed consistent. There, Rob Watt was the strength coach,
Oh, interesting.
and uh, yeah, those workouts they put us through, man. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I tell people to say the Mount Olive circuit was the most devastating workouts you could possibly go through.
Really?
When like everyone thought we were all juicing, like when the season started. And we did look like it. Like,
Really?
yeah, I think like he had me I was 208 pounds at like 6.5% body fat, like going into the season.
Absolute
And
unit, yeah,
yeah, and, but it was also, like, so the Mount Olive story, there's so much, like, that went into how they changed me as a player,
let's
but,
hear
like,
it,
I
please.
went in the fall and I did my job. I proved that I have the foundation,
Yeah,
right? But clearly, I didn't have the knowledge of putting it all together because my stats show that.
right, yeah,
So
there was like a piece of it missing.
yeah,
Yeah,
and part of me going in there and them, like, wondering why I'm leaving a D1, a big part of it and it was me just sick of being in environments that I don't know what my role is.
Yeah.
And um and how frustrating it was for me. So after the fall, like here's like several things that Mount Olive did really well. So like after the fall, everyone got a packet where each page was every person on your team. So like I'll get a packet and I'll go through and be like, all right, Carter Caps, what does he do well? He
Yeah.
throws the ball 100 miles an hour. you know,
Yeah.
what can he work on?
Oh,
And I put
interesting.
what he works on. And then you put like just your general comment of what you think of him,
Yeah.
like as a
Oh,
person, as like a teammate, whatever.
so
So
then it
then
was really powerful what you heard from your teammates. Is that what we're getting
yes,
to?
so you just get an anonymous list of what
Yeah.
everyone said about you.
What'd they
And then
say?
on the backside, which I have that, I have it here. It's in my house, but
Yeah.
I have that whole sheet.
Obviously, it was
Um,
special to you. Yeah.
yeah. So on the backside, Rob Watt writes on the back of their whole opinion on you. Because we just went through the fall. That's all we went through together.
Yeah.
So he writes this thing and he said, after watching you this fall, you are our highest projected draft prospect. And then he put in capital letters as a hitter, underline, underline, underline.
Wow.
And then he goes, if you listen to the adjustments we want to make with you, we promise we will get you drafted.
Wow.
And I was like, well,
Hell
that's all
yeah.
I needed to hear.
Let's go, baby. Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
So I go back for Christmas break, come back, and yeah, I vividly remember walking into the cage with my bat, and then Rob Watts he always sits on this like table that's there next to the cages. And he's like, "You ready to get to work?" I'm like, "Let's do this." So, and then yeah, it was like it was three things he needed to change with me.
Yeah. I was going
Um,
to ask that. Yeah.
yeah, so like it was basically my feet. I was like almost standing too much on top of my, feet versus like pushing,
Yeah.
like from the inside part, like putting the pressure on keeping everything on the inside part of my knees. So
Hmm.
like we worked on like getting the pressure to the inside part of my foot, so I'm more stable and balanced.
Yeah.
My hands were down here when I showed up.
Yeah.
Um, he ended up getting them like here. So
Okay.
like my hands always started above the strike zone. Everything worked down into the strike zone.
Okay.
So like those were the two mechanical things, but unbeknownst to me now, like then it transferred to my brain so clearly. But like being a hitting instructor now, the one thing he did really well with me with that switch with my lower half, like I was able to stay back behind the ball a
Behind the
lot
ball.
better. And the drills he did with us, the high T drills, all this, like basically got your head behind the hitting zone so well.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that from the instructive standpoint and like but it translated to me. Like it made sense and it
Yeah.
obviously worked. Um, and the reason why I bring that up is just like I wish I knew going into pro ball what were those like physical things that changed for me that I
Yeah.
was able to maintain that without him because he was able to maintain it with me and
Yeah.
translate it for me to perform and do it. I just don't think it like really resonated and understood what some of those things were doing to my swing to make it all work. Um,
Interesting. Yeah,
but anyways,
because you've talked about in pro ball that you thought that there were some mechanical issues that held you back a little bit. Is that
a hundred
accurate or
percent,
okay?
100%,
And we can get
yes,
to that. I don't want to get you
yeah,
off track
no,
here, but
yeah, no, and so mechanically he fixed those things, um, and then like the coolest part before the last adjustment, he said like we're up in his office. He's like, listen, because I was working hard on getting these adjustments. He's like, you're doing a really good job with your swing. It's looking great. Because now I'm starting to like backspin elevate balls.
yeah,
And like the ball's like moving different off my bat. And I'm
yeah,
hitting it harder.
hmm,
And I feel like more aggressive. Like feel like an athlete in the box versus kind of like, real relaxed and just reactive.
yeah,
Now I feel like I'm geared up.
okay,
And um and then yeah, he's like, listen, he's like, you are our starting right fielder. You are our three-hole hitter, and you are our closer. He's like, this is your role for this whole year.
that's
I'm not
beautiful.
moving you.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, I'm not taking you out. He's like, you earn this. I was
and
like,
that gives you a chance to breathe, right? Like
yeah,
this is how you're going to be used. I believe in you. You can have a couple bad games. You know, you're our guy. That's
yeah.
a coach saying that to you is so powerful, in my
Oh
opinion.
my God. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
and it did. Like my whole brain just like all this like pressure just went,
and now you're free to play, right, and be the
yeah,
athlete that you are. Yeah,
yeah. And like now it's like I am the guy, and you're my coach, and you're telling me I'm the guy. Like
So
no coach
powerful.
has told me that. Like
So
you know what I
powerful.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so he told me that, and then he's like, that being said, he's like, we have led the nation in hitting for the last X amount of years. He's
Mhm.
like, you're hitting 3-hole for the best Division II hitting team. No one's gonna throw you inside.
Yeah.
Because he knew I love pulling the ball. But he's like, no one's
Right.
gonna throw you inside. And he's like, we gotta work on hitting oppo. And he's like, we're
Mhm.
not hitting line drives oppo. Like, we're gonna hit with authority.
We're gonna drive
I
it.
was like,
Yeah.
all right. So like everything was working middle away, middle away, middle away. And yeah, I started out 35 of my first 37 hits were oppo.
Yeah.
7 of
Really?
my first 9 home runs were oppo.
Really?
Yeah, and it was like and it did, like, it was like me and Bobby Leeper, who came from UNC Wilmington, he was our leadoff hitter, and him and I were, like, leading the nation in hitting, like, halfway
Yeah.
through the year. But we would go through our normal BP stuff with the team, and then right before the game, we put our uniforms on, we head to the cage, and we front flip each other. And then
Yeah.
basically everything's low and middle away, and we just hit these screaming line drives, like, to the left of the L screen.
Yeah.
And after you get a feeling down where you're just basically unbreakable in this move,
Yeah.
then you go, "Okay, go ahead." And then it's like he's gonna give you 5 flips, and at some point, he's gonna throw one middle in.
Mhm.
And, like, you don't know which one it is, so we just go, and then it's just a reaction middle in. And as soon as you, like, feel it, you're like, "Alright, I'm
I'm
good."
there.
So, like,
Yeah, I got
we
it.
both did that, and we just got locked in. And then we just
Fascinating.
yeah, so we had our last second routine that we did every
Yeah.
game. And then it was like what was it? Probably because I had started the season with a 35 game hit streak.
Yeah.
It was like the 28th game or something like that. I think somewhere around there. I went 1 for 3 with like a jam shot, little trickler down the third baseline, and honestly was out, but they called me safe. And so I get called up to the office, and Watt told me he's like, what happened today? I was like, I was just getting friggin' jammed up. He's like, yeah, scouting reports out. You like to hit the pitch outside. I was like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, so now what do we do? I was like,
Adjust.
uh, we start turning on balls. He's like, no, now we start having fun. I was like, he's like, you're forcing them to throw to your best spot, and you haven't even like you're leading the nation on
Yeah.
a pitch you adjusted to. So
Yeah.
now they're gonna give you your pitch. So just have fun. And I
Let's
was like,
go.
hey, yeah. So this
Rob
was a
Watt.
day
Shout out.
yeah. So this was a day before my birthday, in 2010. So and I was a guy like I would be at the cage at night with other players, like
Yeah.
guys that weren't even playing, very frustrated. And I resonate with guys going through that, you know,
'Cause you
because I
you went
came
through it
from
too. Yeah.
yeah. So like I would be in the cage, like trying to get guys to relax, working on their swings and stuff. Like that's just
Mhm.
what I started, you know.
Yeah.
But we had a doubleheader the next day, and I go in the cage, and I do my full warm up routine. And then one of the guys I was working with, I told him, I was like, I want to take 20 swings here and
Yeah.
I'm done. But only like try to get middle in. I was like, I'm only sitting middle in thigh high right now.
Yeah.
So like I didn't leave until I hit 20 barrels in a row to like middle in.
Yeah.
And it literally took me 2 tries. Like I like messed up on like my 6th swing on one, and I reset and I got
Locked
20 in a
in.
row.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm locked. I go out the next day. I go 7 for 7 with 4 home runs. And I remember walking out my last at bat, taking the donut off. I look at Mike Knox, who was leading the nation in home runs at the time, or I don't know if he's leading the nation, but he's up there. I took the donut off. I was like, watch how far this ball goes. And I walked up there, and the kid like he spikes like an off speed pitch first pitch, and then he throws an inside low and in fastball, and I hit this ball like a mile. And it was just like one of those few moments as a hitter where it's just clicking so much,
Yeah.
where it just feels like it's the easiest thing.
Mhm.
And like I said, just the mentality of having Watt there. Um, again,
Awesome.
this is just the importance of having a good hitting instructor. Like, not only was he like mentally prepping me off the field in the cage, like had the drills lined up, and I was in a routine. He was also our third base coach. So like there's plenty of times where like granted when I hit that home run, like I would normally not do that. I wouldn't go up to the plate saying I'm gonna hit this ball a mile
That's
and then it
amazing.
works out.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if I did that and I missed or fouled it off,
Yeah.
my head was down because there's a guy standing at third base that's about to chew my ass out. Like
Yeah.
he's sorry if it's sorry, but he was about
Oh,
to
you're
chew
good.
me apart
Yeah.
for taking that swing because he could tell I'm trying to do too much. You know, it was
Sure.
always a controlled aggression at the plate. Like you're not,
Okay.
you know, and I always lived in that kind of like at the time I'd say like a 90%, 95% effort. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a full because then you just get into trouble with loading, you know,
Yeah.
and your timing when you try to do too much. But yeah, no, like I said, the Mount Olive thing, um, it wasn't even just hitting. Like I came in, I think my fastest 60-yard dash at Stony Brook was 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't a fast outfielder. Like
Right.
granted, I was an infielder that moved to outfield, but um after they like watched me like train and run, they're like, "You're not slow. You just don't know how to run." I was
Yeah.
like, teach me. So,
Right.
so we worked a lot on first step. We learned like, and then like just how to build up speed. And then sure enough, I led the team in stolen bases. I was 26 for 29 or something like that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, and not only did they, you know, take my raw talent as, you know, someone who can hit BP home runs and, you
Yeah.
know, be your 5 o'clock hitter. Um, they turned it into like, you know, game mode. And
Yeah.
then also like, you know, like I said, they turned me into the 5-tool player that I already was,
Yeah.
but I just didn't have the guidance to do it. And
Mhm.
like again, it was just like another scenario in baseball that completely shifted my opinion on like, you know, just the environment itself and how it affects an athlete. And
Yeah.
it sometimes it gets frustrating because I like watch other guys, like friends and stuff like that. Like I'm like, damn, like, he was one good coach away from being, like,
Oh,
possibly
man.
making it to the bigs, you know what I mean?
Man.
And he never even played pro ball. Like, that's where
Yeah.
it's like even my brother, he didn't have the size I had, but, you know, he just never had good instruction.
Dude, that is
And
beautiful. The game is littered with people that find the right coach that believes in them and unlocks something in them, right? Just finding
yeah,
that right person to believe in you. That's man, that is beautiful that you found that and that it
yeah.
totally changed your I mean, you could have gone back to Stony Brook and been had another kind of average-ish year, and that would have probably been the end of your baseball career, right? Maybe.
Yeah, and I could have ended, you know, having just a bad, you know, outing with baseball too. Like, that's, like,
Yeah,
heartbreaking for me when I watch
absolutely.
guys that just, like, you know, they had an unfortunate experience on certain teams, and then they just don't have anything they don't want anything to do with the game anymore, and, like, it's
Yeah,
so yeah,
right.
I watched that happen, and I'm so lucky to have now, obviously, I'm still swinging a bat and hitting and
Yeah,
playing the game, and I'm loving it, and it's a part of my life, but, like, that part is just I'm so blessed to still have that love for the game after all
yeah.
these years and all those, you know, things I've been through.
Let's play, some Rob Watt clips here. We've got a bunch of really good ones, and he said some really profound stuff, and then we'll kinda get into maybe some more little more memories from this year in the draft process, so let's go.
Cool.
First one is Rob Watt, what he first thought he had. Here we go. What did you think you had when he first arrived?
Well, if you if you've put your eyes on him, he passes the eye test
Right.
immediately, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a 6'1", 6'2". You know, he could have walked into a big league clubhouse, you know, at 21
Yeah.
years old, and nobody would have ever batted an eye. I mean, he was
Right.
extremely put together. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you get out and you get an opportunity to kind of see, you know, him perform in a pro setting type of way, like a workout, you're like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this kid's got potential coming out of every possible. I mean,
Yeah.
you're hitting from both sides of the plate.
Mhm.
You're 92 to 95 off the mound. You can run. You know, you've got some bat to ball skills. I mean, yeah, like I said, the eye test. You know, that's the first
Yeah.
thing that gets you noticed, but there's plenty of guys that can get you fired by the eye test, right? And
Yep.
so
Myself
he,
included.
he
Yeah.
was he was not one of those guys. I mean, he
Yeah.
just he moved around really well. The
Yeah.
ball came off the bat, it exploded off the bat. But you know, most of the time you're looking for the fault,
Yeah.
and you know, what am I missing here? You know, because the arm strength, like I said, was exceptional. So um, yeah, when he got out here and we saw him move around for the first time, and I think we probably spent the first 2 or 3 weeks kind of trying to find out, you know, what's wrong with this guy? Like,
Right. Yeah. How
what,
did he end up here?
what,
Right.
you know, when are the warts going to show up? And
Yeah.
fortunately for us, that we never saw any of them.
Oh man,
That
that's
sounds crazy,
incredible.
but it's true.
You got anything to piggyback on that?
No, that's so cool, like, to hear him say that,
Yeah.
and, yeah, I mean, it felt like that a lot, throughout my career where it didn't make sense to me, like, going through those years at Stony Brook and, like, in the back of my mind, I knew I had all this skill,
You're like,
and,
"I'm
like,
so much
you
more
hear
of
it.
a player than I'm showing." Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, you hear it from other teammates, like, "Dude, how do you hit the ball that far?" Like, "I don't know, I
Mhm.
just do it," you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it's just, when you show up somewhere and, I grinded just to get enough to show some of what I'm capable of to,
Yeah.
a great coach like Watt. Um, it's awesome to see. It's, like I said, it's cool to hear that coming from him. Um, Knowing full well that was, the kind of the scenario,
Yeah.
that came to fruition, um, but no, like I said, it's cool. Those Mount Olive days, man, it's like even going back there, like I don't know if you feel the same way. You walk back into like a certain baseball environment that was such a positive like experience for yourself. Like it's almost like it just brings you right back to those
Yes.
feelings.
Those feels,
Like
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
I tell I tell people like they don't really do them anymore, but like for alumni games, I'd go back. Like my first years in pro ball, I was struggling at the plate. For
Mhm.
some reason, when I go back to Mount Olive and you put me in the batter's box there, my whole college stance comes back. My
Really?
col Oh yeah, everything like I hold the
That's
bat different.
fascinating.
I stand in the
Wow.
box different. Like it's just
Really?
weird. Like I just get in this mode.
Wow.
Like,
That's
um,
fascinating. Dude, I played baseball at Murray State, and every summer I go down for the Murray State golf outing, and when I'm there and when I'm amongst my old teammates and in that environment, I start saying things that I used to say in college, things that I don't say anymore, like little like inside jokes we had, and there's just like a feeling of being back in that environment. So I totally get what you're saying there. I'd love to. Are you cool if we go for like 2 hours today? Is that?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we still got a lot to go. So are you
Yeah,
cool for a second
yep,
session?
I'm good.
Has this been a cool experience for you so far?
No, I honestly, I was just telling my wife downstairs. I was like, it's cool. Like I said, like Rob Watt. Like I go there, um, usually we see each other like once a year. They have the Mount
Yeah.
Olive golf tournament too.
Yeah.
And we always like chat up, and it's always good conversation. But like it is such a different experience to watch, someone close to you talk about you. You know what I mean?
100%, yeah, because
Um,
you're never gonna be like, "Hey, Coach Rob Watt, tell me how you felt about me in college. Can we
yeah,
can we talk about this? Tell me how special I was," you know? It's like
mhm,
that's never a
exactly.
conversation that's gonna be had, so that's kind of the beauty of what I do here and what I think is unique within the game is these little side interviews and, like, now we can
Yeah,
play off them, so
that's a
it's
that's a
cool for
really
that.
cool touch that you add to that.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Speaking of that then, let's go ahead and roll out another one here, and what would I wanna I wanna play this one. This is, the chance to fail here, so we're gonna roll this. Rob Watt.
I will tell you, I think one of the things that he does better than most kids, or he definitely had it when he got her, is he was a really honest self evaluator.
Yeah.
So he didn't BS himself about feeling good. He never really tried to glaze over anything in terms of yes sir, and then just kind of he wanted to know,
Yeah.
and he wanted feedback. And he could have a 2 for 4 day where he rolled 2 balls through the 4 hole, and he knows that wasn't a great day, even though
Yeah.
statistically it was.
Sure.
And he didn't want a repeat of that. So I think that you know he came here for a fresh start,
Yeah.
and he was able to get unlocked. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I guess that's maybe the best way, because he was such an athletic kid that
Unlocked.
we kind of just let him go and let him be free. And
Yeah.
he was, you get to some places, and, um, a coach's job depends on individual player performances. And sometimes
Yeah.
you can't really wait around for somebody to have a bunch of bad days. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But,
Right.
I think the one thing where he really started to get comfortable is he knew that we were going to give him the opportunity to
Ah,
fail.
yes. Yep.
And full transparency, I think that you can go back and look, but I think he started his career here on like a 35-game hitting streak or something.
I Yeah, so the opportunity to fail, that's what you needed, right? You needed the opportunity to roll out there every day and, like, see what you can do, so I think that's a
Yep.
pretty powerful clip. You got anything?
Yeah. No, and like I said, like that first conversation telling me where I was going to be in the lineup and stuff, and like solidifying that, that mentality,
Mhm.
um, really did change a lot for me in my confidence
Yeah.
as a player. So like I said, I mean, just the whole coaching style there, um, they build championship mindsets. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, and I didn't really touch upon it because this has a big part to do with it, but like seriously, those workouts that we did,
Tell me
the
about him.
circuit, it was 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And this was, we would do like maybe like Tuesday, Friday or something like that. But that's our only time touching the weight, was just 2 days a week for 6 straight weeks.
Really? You guys were just jacked out of your minds?
So we would do, so
Tell me
I was
about it.
partnered up with Jesse Lancaster as a coach's son. We're both like similar body types and strength. So you always get paired up with someone that's like, close strength wise to you.
Yeah.
But we did, it's all time. So basically, like if I'm going first, like he's my spotter for the whole
Mhm.
workout.
Okay.
So you start off, you get 50 seconds to do the lift, and then you get 30 seconds of rest.
Okay.
So like we start off with squats, and you're starting off, everything's 3 sets of 10. Then you
Uh-huh.
start off with your 10 rep max. So I think week 1, my 10 rep max from squats was like 315.
Mhm.
So like I do 315, he's spotting me behind. I get to 10, he slaps on, 5 pounds on each side, or 2.5, whatever. So then, like, he's charting it up. I'm sitting there just trying to catch my breath. And at 30 seconds, Robots, he yells, he's like, "Under your weight,
You got 30
go." And
seconds
you go,
after a 10 rep max squat? Whew.
yes. Well, this is, but think about this. It goes
Not for
from
the weak.
squat. No, no, no.
Shit.
It goes from squat
Yeah.
to pull-ups
Mhm.
to walking dumbbell lunges, which took full 50 seconds to do 10 reps, which me and Carter Caps were doing with 100-pound dumbbells in each hand.
Oh god.
And so yeah, I think it's 12 workouts. So think about
Man.
12 workouts at your 10 rep max
Yeah.
going through. Like by the time you got after walking lunges, we called it zombie mode because your brain wasn't even functioning anymore. Like your spotter basically grabs your arm and walks you to like the next workout. And like I
That's
think
great.
me and one other guy were the only two on that year that didn't throw up. Like
Really.
everyone else would be thrown up the whole workout.
Mhm.
And but we just did it twice because you needed those days in between to recover. But we started out, I think my first week, like I said, I was like 315 squat. I think on week 6, I was doing 425 for 3 sets of 10. Um,
That's ridiculous.
but it was because after halfway through circuit, you hit a different mindset. The first 3 weeks is dreadful. It is the worst drive to a gym. Like, when I tell you it is like my roommates and us, so we have our hoods up. Like, we're just like dreading this workout for like 3 straight weeks.
Oh man.
And then after those 3 weeks, when I tell you everyone's mindset changed, where it's like, we're here, like might as well get stronger. Like,
Yeah.
and then it became like we were just straight warriors, and like
Yeah.
the weight room, and you see everyone's weights just start climbing. Like everyone wanted to push up 10 so you could add more weight on.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is too, it wasn't like, oh, I only got 6. No, your
Yeah.
spotter helps you to 10. You're getting 10 no
Yeah.
matter what.
This
And your
sounds like a
spotter will
great
help
culture
you.
down there.
Yeah, so like you're gonna hit that number, and your
Yeah.
your teammate's gonna help you get to that number. And if you needed help, you're staying at that weight. You ain't dropping down unless you
Yeah.
couldn't do 6 on your own.
Yeah.
Like you're staying at that weight. So it was constantly pushing yourself. I was doing wide grip pull-ups with 2 plates strapped to my waist for 3 sets of 10. I can't do that. I'd pull my shoulder out of sock if I tried that now. But like at the time, like it
Yeah.
was, again, like that whole workout completely changed my mind of like, wow, like I'm even more capable than I
Yeah.
think I am,
Yeah.
and
Beautiful.
you could see it across our whole team. Like
Yeah.
by week 6, we were an entirely different group of people. Like our
Yeah.
mentality was like, you can't break us.
Mhm.
Like,
And
and yeah.
and going through those kind of really hard things as a team like bonds you, right? Like that really brings you together. And it sounds like this was an awesome environment. Was this like a good cultural team fit
Oh,
for
yeah,
you?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There really wasn't, any bad eggs, I would say.
Yeah.
You got a couple of guys that might be a little like, a
Sure.
little off, but that's
Sure.
any team. But
Absolutely.
no, the team was awesome. it was a small school, so, like,
Yeah.
if we were going out and hanging out, like, if you go to a party or whatever, it's all athletes, like, we're all seeing each other. It's not like, Stony Brook was, like, 20,000 people on campus, like,
Yeah.
um, baseball players, like, splitting up, going different places or whatever. Like, this was, like, if we're hanging out, we're all hanging out, like, type thing.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and it was like I said, it was a really cool, environment to be around.
I love it. All right, this next one, let's play some more Rap Walk clips. I got a bunch of them, and they're so special, I couldn't cut any of them. So this next one is Loves Baseball. Here we go.
As a coach, I think when you get talented kids, especially when we would get like some kids from, maybe an ACC or an SEC school, or um, there's always um, there's always the opportunity where you think like um, there's a possibility where coaching them is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one thing I could tell you as a player, and I think this is a reason why he continued to develop and get better as he moved on, was he never thought he knew everything.
Oh,
And one of the first conversations that we had when he got here, he kind of came in. He said, "Look, I'm willing to just be, a blank canvas. Let's start from square one, and
yeah.
and we were able to kind of, set a foundation and develop some trust.
Yeah.
And when he realized that it wasn't going to be a complete overhaul, and it was going to be, a steady, process of, small changes, he really started to flourish.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, just so coachable, man. Like,
Yeah.
and like he loves baseball.
Nice to hear that you're coachable, right? That's I think that was the awesome comment.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely I mean, like I said, like, that was my first true hitting coach.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I was in a situation too, like, my back was against the wall. So, like, I was, like, in a situation where I didn't really have an option. I had to put like, this is my last chance, so I
Yeah.
can't go out there and do what I have been. So,
Right.
like, I haven't proven that it works, so it was kinda easy for me, like, just seeing the success that they had and then putting my trust in them, to be able to, like, make those adjustments, and yeah, like I said, it Watt was probably the best hitting coach I ever had.
Yeah.
Just all around, like all around between just mechanically, mental approach. I would say especially mental approach.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned it earlier, but this having him as our third base coach was like this almost like I felt like I was cheating because I wasn't up there against this pitcher by myself. Like he's there.
He was there with
Like when
you?
I take a bad swing, like, it wasn't because you know how it is as a player, like, you do something and, like, say you're trying to do too much at bat. You
Mhm.
spend a whole at bat trying to do too much, you miss a couple of pitches, and you're like, "Dang it, like, why did I do that?" Right?
Yeah.
You you have one chance to, like, make a bad swing. What I felt like having him at third watching me because, like I said, he was on top of us
Yeah.
when he could see us trying to do too much or doing something, like, that we shouldn't be doing, and,
Yeah.
like, that almost, security of every time I was at the plate, I was just locked in. Like, it just
Yeah.
that's the only way I could explain it.
Yeah.
Was such a benefit, having our hitting coach as a third base coach.
Yeah.
Um,
And that he
but
really
yeah,
believed in you too and, like, was confident in you. I had a experience in college where I had a first base coach who would show body language if you took a bad swing or, like, shake his head at you or, like, real negative, and I always thought that was just so difficult to play under, but it sounds like the opposite with him, like, he was championing you. Yeah?
yeah, yeah, but, I mean, there would times, where he would yell. He would yell at you for overswinging. Like, if I
Yeah.
had a 2-0 fastball and I fouled it straight back and everyone's like, "Oh," like, going crazy, he knew that I was trying to do too much, and he could
Yeah.
see it. We worked together so much,
Yeah.
where I wouldn't repeat that. Like, that one moment would lock me in for the next 2 weeks because I don't want him to look at me like that again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For
Like,
sure.
it was just that kind of, like, shift of, like, confidence, just your, overall mentality at the plate that I think needed to be said because as a hitting instructor moving, forward past those years, um, that the impact a coach has on a player is so big, and it
Huge.
even goes
Yes.
down to each individual pitch he had an impact on me,
Yeah.
which, like, I never really talked to him about that part, but it was a cool situation to be a part of for sure.
And you spoke about or you just made a mention of he helps you with the mental part of the game. Do you have anything to add there?
So like, you know, some of the drills we would do, we call it like the 7-ball drill. So we like, ball 7's on the outside corner and it works like diagonally across the plate where the inside ball is like out in front. So like ball 1 and ball 7 are splitting the outside corners, and then you have 2 through 6 like lined up in the middle. So like we would do front toss drills where it'd be like, all right, we're only hitting balls 5, 6, 7. Or
Oh, interesting.
usually we'd stay in the middle of the play, so it'd be like 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. So if it's anything inside, you're taking. So like,
Yeah.
and this is front flips. You can hammer a 3 or a 2, but you ain't swinging at it in practice. Like you're
Right.
just you're splitting the plate up, and
Yeah.
like you take like parts of it, and it almost took my vision and just refined it. Where like
Interesting.
I would always sit like a general hittable strike. I would be
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna hit that. And that's why I didn't have good power numbers.
Right.
Because I wasn't, even though you're a good hitter, it's very difficult to just generally sit on a pitch over the plate.
Yeah.
But if you're 2-0, and this is what you see big leaguers all the time, they'll just like take a fastball like middle away. Like, what is he doing? That was belt high, middle away. It's
It
like,
wasn't his
he looked,
plan. Yeah.
yeah, he could have been hitting sitting slider that whole time, or
Right. Yeah.
and that happens all the time, and that's why those hitters are so good. They're so
Right.
disciplined
Right.
in doing that, and that's where I first learned that.
Oh, fascinating.
That whole you don't have to, because it's 2-0. That's the benefit of 2-0. Like, you don't have to swing at a pitch you're not looking for,
Yeah.
even
Get
if
your
it's
pitch. Yeah. One pitch.
like
Yeah.
the barrel's only so big. If you're sitting, that's why I did so well, is like I would sit middle away where guys
Yeah.
are like, all right, I'm behind in the count. Let me get a fastball over outside. It's like, no, I'm dead red outside on you, buddy. Like, go ahead.
Right.
Like is that sort of like confidence that I already knew at this pitcher's, if you fall behind on me, you're screwed. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because you're only going to try to live on the outside half thinking that's your chance of getting me to get out. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, we literally trained day in and day out to hammer those pitches and sit on them until we
Beautiful.
force them to throw us inside.
Oh,
Like,
man. I'm with
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
No. Let's get to a couple more Rob Watt clips here. Just incredible. This one's called Front Seat. Here we go. Get it. Record-setting year. That just I look at the numbers and I think that must have been pretty cool to witness.
Bro, he was conference player of the year.
Yeah.
He was co-conference player of the year. The guy who won with them actually won national player of the year. I think the other guy hit like 27 jacks and had like 100 something RBIs, so it was pretty
Jeez.
special.
Yeah.
The guy we had hit behind him hit 24 jacks.
Wow.
But his guy is Griffey,
Yeah.
Jeremy's guy, he grew up idolizing him, and
Sure.
I'm a Ken Griffey Jr. fan.
How can you not be?
And
Yeah.
it was about as similar of a year as you could possibly say as if you kind of programmed a Ken Griffey Jr. into a college baseball player. I mean, I'm not telling you
great.
that Jeremy's as good as Ken Griffey Jr., but
I
I'm
get what you're
saying
saying.
it's a good comp in terms of how he was just how he compared to his peers. I guess you could
Yeah.
say it was.
So much above them in ways.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we judge players by tools and their level of consistency and stuff like
Right.
that. And I mean, there just wasn't flaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, did he have some games that he wished he'd had back? For sure. I mean, but in terms of, he was just the guy that kept us right where we needed to be. I mean,
Yeah.
if we left him at home, if he didn't get on the bus, that would not have been good for us. But it's both sides of the plate.
Yeah.
Blake, it's like, how do you even like, I don't even know how you put a value on it. I mean, he led our team in batting average. He led our team in OPS. He led our team in stolen bases. I mean, how often do you get a 3-hole hitter that's, going to hit 17 pumps and, steal that many bases and,
Yeah.
hit
Crazy.
for that type of average with that type of juice? I mean,
Yeah.
it was like Nintendo, right? It was
Yeah,
just like
for sure.
we were on cheat code with him.
Nope.
But he ran with it, man. Like he
Yeah.
played free. And that's what I loved about him was, like I said, I think the best word that happened when he got here is we just kind of, he felt unlocked. You know what I mean? He just went out
Unlocked.
there and he played free. And I think that's
Perfect.
what a lot of older baseball players find out too late is that
Yeah.
you got to just enjoy it a little bit.
Oh, I really enjoyed talking with that guy. What a salty baseball dude, and now you're
Oh,
giving me even more behind the curtain. I think more appreciation for Rob Watt. You got anything off that?
yeah, I mean, it's, he used that term "unlocked." It really what it was, right?
Unlocked, yeah.
It's taking that, taking that home run hitter, like, stud hitter in my backyard that I would just do over and then I just
Yeah.
became that guy on a live, like, field,
Mhm.
and that's how I felt like I was playing. Like, it didn't feel like I was playing, like obviously, I am a competitor, but didn't feel like I was playing competitive baseball games. Like, if I was up there to hit,
Yeah.
like, I'm hitting this ball hard, and it was like, it didn't matter who was throwing. Like, it was
Right.
just, if you give me something over the plate that I'm looking for, it ain't coming back. Like,
Mhm.
that's just like and then as soon as I was on base, it was like, "I'm taking this base on you." Like, it was just, like, it just never stopped. Like, the game never stopped for me. Like, I always felt like I was so focused that year.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just it completely it's just mind-boggling to just see where I went from Stony Brook
Yeah.
with the raw talent guy, right? You take such raw talent and then you mix it with a great coach, and it's just like, yeah, the sky's the limit, and when you could get those 2 things working together, and it was a
Yeah.
fun year. That's pretty much what it was.
I wonder if that coaching staff at Stony Brook, obviously, I'm sure at some point they realized what you did and went on to a pro career. If they realized that they made miscalculations in how they saw you as a player, and I mean, I don't
I
know
know
if you'd
they
ever get
used
that answer, but
No, I've never spoke with them since,
yeah,
which
obviously they did.
honestly yeah, and I mean, they use my name as, like, someone who played pro ball out of Stony Brook, so there's that.
That's hilarious, right?
I know,
Yeah,
but no, yeah, I never spoke to them. I'd imagine they're aware of, what happened, life
sure,
after Stony Brook, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is,
yeah,
and yeah, Monov was a fun year.
for sure. So then take me through getting pro attention and like the draft process and how that went for you. I'd love to take me there.
Yeah, so, I mean, my first conversation started in the fall, like, the Giants came to a practice. This is before all my hitting adjustments, like, I was just going off in the fall hitting well, um, but it was like, I had a scout, like, sit and watch me take batting practice in a cage, like, I was
Right.
like, "Man, this is crazy," like, that was my first time seeing, like, a pro scout watch me,
Yeah,
you know? So I knew, like, that attention was there, and then, um and then, yeah, like, when it got into the season and as the season progressed, like, the letters just started coming in.
yeah.
Like, I had a letter from every single team. Like, I
Oh
had
wow.
32 letters.
Mhm.
Um, I had, was it 9 pre-draft workout invites? And yeah, so, like, after the season ended, like, my mom and I just went up and down the East Coast to pre-draft workouts, and I had some freaking awesome workouts.
Really, did any of
Uh
those experiences stand out that you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I had a few of them.
Go.
I had, uh so, like, the first one, like, crazy one I had was with the Nationals, and we were in Georgia. Can't tell you, like, the name of the field. Is like, some high school field or something, but there's, like man, there's a whole lot of guys there. There's probably, 50, 45, 50 players there, it felt like.
Mhm.
So, and there's guys I played against, like, that were there that ended up getting drafted. So we like, go through the whole running 60s, doing all this stuff. And at the time, I mean, I was consistently running like now like a 6'7",
Oh wow,
60
yeah,
or so. Yeah.
absolutely.
So like I was like moving it, but you got guys run like 6'3", 6'4".
Right.
So but but yeah, I remember we were at the field and we're like hitting, obviously we're hitting all with wood now. And uh I was in the very last group. So like I'm just in the outfield just shagging and watching these guys hit. And there's probably out of all those guys, there's maybe like 5 of them that hit a few home runs like over, whatever. And so I get up to the plate and like the
Yeah.
layout of the field, there's like bushes in right field and then a highway after that. And then left field, there's like the bullpens and like this huge shed, which someone hit it off like the front of the shed. So I'm up there lefty, and I just start unloading on pitches, and I'm hitting them over the bushes onto the highway, like, just launching home runs the whole round. I probably had, like, 3 rounds. I probably hit, like, 90% of my pitches out, and then I switch sides, and I go righty. Like, the first swing I hit it clears the
Yeah.
building in left field, and I'm just going off right-handed, and I'm like, "I am dialed right now,"
Yeah.
and, we get through that workout
Yeah.
and fast forward, so, like, I had to work out with the Braves at, like, Turner Field, whatever. It's like, again, this was with the Nationals. So like we're making our way up
Oh,
the
that must
East
have been
Coast.
cool. Wow.
Yeah. So now we're in Myrtle Beach visiting my grandma, and I'm just sitting on the beach with my mom, just taking a day off. And all of a sudden I get my phone rings. I obviously had my phone
Mhm.
on me the whole time. And I get a call, and he's like, "Hey, is this Jeremy?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Mike Rizzo, GM in the Nationals." I'm like, hi, Mike Rizzo.
Wow.
Like, uh
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, so," he's like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Good. I'm just here in Myrtle Beach, just hanging out on the beach." He's like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "So I heard you had a," or he's like, "How'd the workout go for us down in Georgia?" I was like, uh I went pretty well." He's like, "Pretty well?" He's like, "You're literally the only person that everyone keeps talking about here." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Dude,"
Really? Oh,
he's
cool.
like, "You turned a lot of heads the other day." He's like, "Let me ask you a question. What are you doing
Yeah.
on this certain day?" I was like, "Well, I'm supposed to be in Camden Yards a day before that." He's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "You want to take an hour drive over to Nationals Park and do a workout over here?" I'm like, "Nationals
Oh,
Park?" He's like,
man.
"Yeah, it's our big league field." I'm like, "Yeah, I know what Nationals Park is." I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do that. That sounds awesome."
Oh,
So,
man. So
yeah,
cool.
so I go to the after that, I go to the Baltimore workout, and there's probably like, I don't know, 10, 11 guys there. And
You said this is at Camden? At
Camden
Camden?
Yard. Yeah. So I'm
Oh,
at
wow.
Camden,
Man,
and
so
I just
cool.
start hitting like, now Camden Yards, like when I was there, like, I was just gap to gap, like left-handed. I was just hitting the center of the field, and
Okay.
I hit the batter's eye a few times. Like, I was hitting
Yeah.
bombs. And then they ended up throwing me 3 extra rounds to try to get me to hit the warehouse. And
I was about to say,
I
you
just
gotta do the Griffey Warehouse, right?
well, at the
Griffey
time,
Warehouse
I just
pit.
couldn't, like, I couldn't pull the ball and elevate like I can now. If I did
Yeah.
it now, I know I could hit it. But, like,
Yeah.
then I just didn't, like, my approach was so game-like, and I was just hitting, like, bombs, like, to the middle part of the field.
Okay.
And I just couldn't pull it because you gotta pull it right down the line to do that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have that in my repertoire at the time.
Oh,
But,
man.
but it was
Huh.
cool. Like, I had a really good workout at Camden. I think that was, like, the first, like, 6'6" I ran in the 60.
Oh,
And
wow.
then,
That's cooking. Yeah.
um yeah, like, right-handed, same thing. Like, I think I hit one off the facade of the upper deck in left field, and then,
Mhm.
but then I get to Nationals Park, and there's like it was me and 5 other kids, and they're all like out of high school. So I'm like a
Yeah.
4-year college guy and all these
Right.
high schoolers.
Jacked.
And they had a home
Yeah.
game against the Reds that day. So like
Mhm.
there's big leaguers coming out in the dugout to watch. The whole front office was there. So I'm just hitting in
Wow.
front of everyone. And it was cool
Yeah.
because they're high school guys. There's only one kid that was able to hit the ball like over the fence with a wood bat.
Yeah. Right.
And
And
when
you're
I
just
went up
pumping them
there,
out.
oh my gosh. I was hitting I was hitting balls like to the restaurant and left center right-handed. There, and this is what they started out the round. They go, um, there's just me and one other guy in my group, and they're like, "All right, take whatever you want." I'm like, "Take whatever I want?" I'm like, You have a big league batting your practice pitcher, unlimited baseballs, and you're gonna tell me to take whatever I want? Like, you guys might want to move the game back a couple hours because I've been here all day. I think I had like 7 or 8 rounds from each side. Like, I just kept wanting to hit,
Let's
but
go.
yeah, no, it was like and after that, like 2 workouts with the Nationals, getting to the front
Mhm.
office, like meeting them,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess the Nationals are gonna draft me. Like,
Yeah.
and according to my agent, or my advisor at the time, he said that he was under the belief that the Nats were gonna get me, but their plan was to get me like in I ended up getting drafted 13th round by the Orioles, but they were gonna
Yeah.
pick me up in the 14th was their
Really?
initial plan. But
Okay. So
yeah, so
that's what you were hearing round wise? I know that can be like there can be discrepancies there, what they tell you when it actually happens, you know?
yeah, no, I mean, that was after the
Mm,
fact, is that what
okay.
that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or
Okay.
not, but, before, I mean, I thought for sure I was gonna be a top 10 rounder. Granted, I was undrafted, like, no one knew me in high school. Stony
Sure.
Brook, no one watched me, so, like, it was one really, really
1
good
year.
year.
Yeah. Right.
Um, Obviously, your hopes is to be in the top 10 rounds as a senior.
Sure.
Um, so, yeah, I mean, it was like, as far as that draft day, though, I mean, like, that was one of the coolest, experiences
Please.
ever.
Right. That is a rite of passage for every little boy that grows up loving the game and wanting to play pro baseball wants to get that call, that or see it on the computer. You've been drafted. You got your ticket. Take me there. I'd love to just the setting, who was there with you, how you felt. Don't be brief.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, so we set it up, this would be 2010. Yeah, we had it set up. My brother got, like, the computer hooked up to the TV so you could see the names, like, pop up.
Mhm.
We're watching, like, the top, 10 rounds go and waiting, like, just heart's pumping, and you're just waiting
Sure.
for your name to pop up, and then, like, obviously didn't happen in the first 10 rounds. Now it's like, well, now we gotta wait and see, like, I don't know when this is
Yeah.
gonna happen. 11th round goes by, 12th round goes by. I think the
Yeah.
Orioles had 3rd pick in the 13th round. But yeah, yeah, I remember getting that, seeing the name and getting the phone call was just, like, such a surreal moment. Because also too, like,
Yeah.
my parents were there the whole time, but then, like, my, uh they ended up leaving to go grab something from the store. They're like, "All right, we'll be back in a few minutes." And it was, like, in
Uh-huh.
that time that my name got picked. But, yeah, I mean, it was just,
Of
like,
course.
I think I was crying
Yeah.
for, like, I felt like I was crying for, like, hours. Like, I was just, like it felt, like, crazy because like, it was all those,
Yeah.
all those frustrations from Stony Brook, those summer leagues into, like, just, the whole experience just changing around during Mount Olive, um, and then just seeing all the hard work I put in and going, the excitement of the pre-draft workouts, and then just seeing your name pop up there. It's like all of it
Yeah.
just like hits you all at once, like this wave of like, all those things you put in. And then that was
Mhm.
like, you know, seeing your name to now you're a professional is like the coolest thing ever.
Dream come true. So, we're getting close here to the 2 hours, so I'd love to just wrap it with kinda like, how it went, getting signed and like, talking with Baltimore after being drafted and how that went and where they sent you. I'd love to hear the kind of details of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there wasn't being a senior, there really wasn't much negotiation. I didn't sign for much.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I went on to play, in Aberdeen my first year, for rookie ball and, struggled my first year,
Yeah.
just trying to figure it out. It's definitely a huge adjustment. I mean, you can see it with some of the best college hitters out there,
Sure.
struggling the first couple of years of minor league ball. But yeah, I came back,
Yeah.
got promoted to Delmarva my second year. Now granted that spring training in 2000 and, what would have been 2011, um, made some swing adjustments. I was kind of, the one thing is I would like overturn, so my shoulder would like get too closed off, and I'd basically like be forced to hit the ball the other way. So I made an adjustment to
Yeah.
try to not close off as much, and it opened up the whole inside
Yeah.
part of the
Cast
foot
around
for
it.
me. Yeah, so yeah, it was like my 5th or 6th game. After going back to Aberdeen, I hit 2 home runs. I had 3 hits that
Yeah.
game. Um, and they promoted me that night. So I went to Delmarva, and then like the first month and a half of the season, I was going off. I think with Delmarva, I was hitting like 380 or something the first like month and a half or so, but then started dwindling. I started hitting like a cold streak again, and the end of the year, turned out to be an average minor league season, like nothing crazy. But yeah, it was 2012 was
Yeah.
my best year with the Orioles, but we had a whole new hitting coach um with them that kind of put it all together, and that's he kind of basically he told me a piece of information that to this day is the most important thing in hitting. Um but
Let's go.
it's basically the rhythm and timing. Rhythm and time. If you have good rhythm and timing, you could put the bat on the
Yeah.
ball. Like that's literally it. And
Yeah.
I remember my first 2 games, I was seeing the ball really well, but I was late on everything. So then I go in the cage. I was always the first one in the cage, and Mike Bollinger was my hitting coach, and he's like, "Hey Jeremy, how'd the first couple games go?" I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing the ball really well, but I don't know, I'm just behind." He's like, "Oh, what's your adjustment?" I said, "Oh, I was just trying to get my foot down earlier." He's like, "All right, it's interesting." He's like, "Let me ask you a question. When you throw a baseball, do you pick up your foot?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You ever think about putting it back down?" I'm like, "No." He's like,
No.
"Kind of just happens, right? You can't throw a ball without." He's like, "Do me a favor, try to swing and don't put your foot down." I'm like, "I can't." He's like, "Yeah, you can't." He's like, "It has to happen, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So
Yeah.
why are you thinking about it?" I'm like, "It's a good
Interesting.
point." And then he's like, "So what should we think about?" I was like, "My hands?" He's like, "Let's try that today." He's like, "I call it dancing with the pitcher. When he starts
Yeah.
pulling the ball out of his glove, you
The
start
dance.
pulling your
Yeah.
hands back and get
Beautiful.
ready to hit. Just try it." He's
Yeah.
like, and then he's like, do it today, but just for today, don't swing past like 85%. Just work on that. I was like, all right. So like I go out there the next game or
Yeah.
later that day, and I just remember like guys throwing. We were actually at the Twins facility, and yeah, this guy's throwing like 95, and I was leading off, and I go up there, first pitch. I'm like, all right. When he pulls the game down, just like this, and I just start winding up as he's like winding up, and he just lets go of this ball, and just I swear it looked like this. Like I saw it the whole way. I'm like, why'd that feel so slow? And then sure enough, next it was
Yeah.
high for a ball, and he throws me an inside corner fastball, and I just rip a single out to right. I turned on it. I'm like, what was that? I was like, that felt
There it is.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that,
Right.
I just went off that spring, and I hit like 420 something that spring, and then got promoted to
Yeah.
Frederick, and then ended up having like, my best minor league season. Um, that year making the all-star team, and like
Oh,
that was a
and I
fun year.
can't wait to get to that. I can't wait to get to that. And I do want to go back. We're kind of at the end of our 2-year mark or 2-hour mark here. And I'm not going to let you get past these pro seasons as fast as you can. I know there's a little more to
Okay,
each of these. So we're going to circle back, I think, in part 2. But I want to
gotcha.
end it here with a couple fun baseball questions that I usually ask towards the end. And I think it'll be easier for us to just round out the end here. But do you have a favorite baseball movie of all time? And is there a worst baseball movie of all time?
Um, I would say my favorite baseball movie. Oh man, it's honestly it depends on the mood. Like obviously Sandlot like is up there now that I have kids. Like I rewatch it now and I like have a different appreciation now for it. Um, but
Yeah.
For Love of the Game was honestly like one of my favorite baseball movies to watch. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, worst baseball movie, probably the one that frustrates me the most is Angels in the Outfield, just because of how bad they are at baseball. But
Terrible.
I mean, take it
Yes.
back. Well, that's a bad movie. That would be the one that frustrates me the most. My favorite movie, sorry, if it's Little Big League is my favorite baseball
Okay.
movie. That
Classic.
one
And
actually,
Griffey's in that, isn't he?
yeah, Griffey, Randy Johnson, Barry Bonds is in it. No, Barry Bonds is in
Yeah,
Rookie League. But
that's
but
right.
yeah, that's my favorite is that
Okay,
movie.
that's great. If you could play catch with anyone all time, who would it be?
Probably Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah.
Ken
I mean,
Griffey? I
if
get
you're
this is
talking about
probably gonna
playing
be the next
baseball.
answer too then. So, the next question is I always loved having these sessions with, like, a close friend on the team, like, just like a bro cage session where you're kinda hitting off the tee, you're doing some stuff, but you're also kinda talking about life and just chatting as you go. I always really loved those. If there's anyone in baseball history you could do that with, who would you do that?
Oh, man. Well, I had the opportunity to do that with Manny Ramirez last or 2 years ago, so that was pretty cool. You would have been up there on my list, but
Man.
I was able to do
Wait,
that.
what
What's that?
that is a great way for us to take us out. Tell me about that experience. I'd love to hear about that.
Oh, about
Just
with
Manny
Manny?
being one of the all-time greatest hitters. Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Manny was, my goodness. My experience with him was just so cool. But yeah, that whole thing started as me just DMing him an impersonation, and he messaged me
That's
back
it?
and was like
That's how it
he's
started?
that's how it started, and then it turned into, like, he
Wow.
sent me 2 clips, one, like, recent one, and then one from, like 5 years ago when he was playing I forgot what league it was. He's like and that
Yeah.
5-year-old clip was, like, the closest I've ever seen him to is, like, 2004 Manny. Like, he just had
Uh-huh.
his, like, kind of like his like, Dodgers Manny was like this, and he had a lot of hand movement,
Oh,
and then
Dodgers Manny was nasty when he was
'04
there.
Manny, though, like, he would, like, have his hands, like, preloaded, and he had the slow,
Yeah,
like, that was my favorite Manny swing, um,
yeah.
and when I tell you I've watched '04 home runs of Manny, like, way too many times, like, no one should watch this, like, someone hit the same home runs over and over, but
Yeah.
essentially, like, he's like, "Hey, can you, like, impersonate this swing and explain the differences or how to like he just basically wanted to see like how to get back to that. So
Wow,
I told him I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I
that's
do like
amazing. Yeah.
do you mind if I post this DM and then like a response video to that and post it on my channel?" And then he sends me his
Mhm.
number. He's like, "Call me." I'm like, so now I call Manny
Oh my
Ramirez and
god.
we're on the phone and again, I'm calling
Oh,
him.
man.
So I don't know if it's Manny. I haven't heard his voice in like on an interview in forever. So I don't know if someone's like trolling me right
Right.
now or something, but we start talking about him. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like asked, at one point, I'm like, when you're with the Dodgers, do you feel like your hands started moving more? Like, he's like, yeah, like, I don't know why that started happening. I was like, well, that's like kind of where you're at now. I was like, the reason why I explained is because your lower half um, and your upper half aren't working together. Like your upper half's searching for timing, and you're always going to find it through your hands. So like you watch someone
Yeah.
that doesn't like their lower half slightly disconnected from their upper half, they figure. And I mean, you're such a good hitter, like your hands are so good, you'll figure it out. But that's where the hand movement came
Right.
from. And
Yeah.
he's trying to understand on the phone. He's like, "Can we FaceTime?" I'm like, "Okay." so so my wife's like outside like recording me talking to him, and I'm like just like a little kid. 'Cause he was my favorite right-handed hitter growing up. So now we're
Oh my God.
FaceTiming,
Yeah.
like, showing Manny what I'm talking about on a FaceTime. And I'm like, "Oh, it is Manny
Wow.
Ramirez. This is cool." And,
Surreal.
yeah, but then it turned into the Home Run Derby X invited me out, to their event in Albuquerque, and they flew me out there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was like Manny was there, and
Oh,
I knew
man.
he was there, but, like, I got to meet
Yeah.
Ian Desmond and Ryan Zimmerman and, Johnny Gomes, like, in the hotel, and then, like, me, Desmond, and Zimmerman ride to the field together, and I still haven't met Manny. I've been there for, like, 12 hours, like, flying in the day before, and I haven't ran into him. We're all staying at the same hotel, but then we go to the field.
Yeah.
Desmond and Zimmerman get pulled off by fans, like, to sign autographs. I go into the clubhouse, and I just see the dreads from behind, and I was like, "Oh." A part of me, because I was so, like, dumbfounded that I'm
Right.
riding in the car with these 2 studs, and I'm, like, totally not even thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
Manny being there, and I see his dreads, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Manny. What do I say? Like, how do I approach him?" And all of a
I'm
sudden,
nervous.
yeah, he's talking to someone, he turns around, he does, like, a double take, goes like this, and turns around, he's like, "Oh my gosh," he's like, "You're here," and he runs over, gives me a hug. He's like, "I didn't know
Oh,
you were
man.
coming." He's like,
What a
"Are you
moment.
hitting with us?" I was like, I'm having my bag on my shoulder. He's like, "Are you hitting with us?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna hit in the event with you guys, but, like," he's like, "Can we hit together?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can hit
Oh,
together." He's like,
man.
"I haven't eaten anything yet." I was like, I just got here. Like, and, like, that's what that first experience with him, like, the guy's,
Man.
in his 50s now, like, he is more passionate about hitting than anyone I've ever met. Any, like,
Dude.
12-year-old that figure out how to hit home runs, like, this guy is more passionate than that kid, like, he is and
No.
the yeah, and as good as a hitter as he is, like,
He's still learning. He
he
never
wants
stops
to
learning.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so cool, man, and, like, it was a
Now with
surreal experience, and then we got to go, like, anytime he wasn't getting pulled to the side by media or do stuff, like, him and I were somewhere in the corner of the room or in another
man.
room, like, at one point, like, he's like, "Alright, show me." He's like I was like, "Get in your stance," and he's like this, and his hands are like here, and he's like I was like, "So your hands weren't there, like, years ago?" He's like,
Right.
"Grab my shoulders and my hands and show me," or whatever, and I'm, like, pulling his
Oh my
hands, like
God.
and, like, as soon as he got in this stance, like, "Oh, there's the old man, like, right there." I was like, "You held tension." And I was like
Dude.
so then we go to the cage, and, like, Manny and I, we just set the tee up. We set and then an hour straight, I got to hit with Manny, and, like, we're just switching rounds off the tee. I'm imitating him, like,
Dude.
hitting with him, and then, yeah, like, the guys, like, around are just watching it, and, like, when I got done, like, out of the cage, the guys are like, "Well, there's something that not many people could say they've done." I was like, "That
Oh my
was"
God.
yeah. But those are,
Have
like,
there ever
moments like that, like, I wish like, I knew it was a special moment, and I wish,
Oh,
like, I don't know, it's like one of those things you can't appreciate enough at the time, like, it's
yeah.
so surreal.
What a wink from the universe, whatever you wanna say, source that you're in the right place and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like, oh my God, you spent time with Manny Ramirez and he wanted your thoughts on his swing, and
Yeah,
he was having you show him his swing because you're so good at imitating? Like,
yeah,
blown, dude. That is just so thank you for sharing that. That was an incredible story. I really appreciate that.
yeah,
Man, and,
absolutely,
Manny being from my opinion, one of the greatest right-hand hitters of all time, one of the greatest swings of all time, and I still follow him. I see that he's out hitting with hitting coaches and still learning all the time and still traveling the country hitting with guys. It's incredible. I love his path. So that's just thank
for
you
sure.
so much for sharing that, dude. That was incredible.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. No, it's like I said,
Man,
it was a really cool experience. I think social media has opened up, those doors of
man.
being in those situations.
I couldn't imagine Manny being like, "Oh, here's my number, call me." And then all of a
Yeah,
sudden you're like, "Oh, I gotta call him, okay."
yeah, I know. I know. It's like I said, it's surreal. Like my contact list now just through social media, like I look through is just like it's bananas. But I mean
That's
like
how
it,
I feel now. Like I open up my phone list and I got Hall of Famers and All-Stars in there, and I'm like, man, I must be on the right path, you know?
right?
So
Yeah, exactly.
for sure.
So
All right, brother. Hey, we're right at 2 hours here. I think this is a great place to pause it and then pick it up again. I think I always look for some kind of saying or something said within the episode to know what I'm going to name it. And I think we're going to name this one Unlocked. I think it's the perfect kind of, phrase for this. So this is going to be the Jeremy Nowak story, the Swingman Part 1. Do you have anything to say before we get out of here, brother?
no, I'm excited. Like I said, I mean the first part of it, I was kind of rushing through the pro side, but yeah, if we're gonna start from the beginning of the pro days, like
Yeah.
there's definitely a bunch
We'll
of
go. We'll go.
stories like in there.
We'll
Yeah.
start right as you got signed and slow it down. I know there's
Yeah.
lessons and stuff in there. We're not in any timeline, and at least from my end, and like a baseball game, this deserves the space to breathe and play out. So, all
Cool.
right, guys, post game spread, the Swingman story. We're out of here. Thank you. All right.